Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 28-29. They kicked an iron plate. What sword is that? The Fire Spear Empire's people were shocked because they had seen swords before, but it was their first time seeing someone being smashed to death by a sword. He's obviously not a weakling, but I have 81 narrow claw needles. Even a late-stage true immortal realm expert's Dantian and bones would be locked. Wait for me to sneak attack him. In a corner, an old man laughed sinisterly. However, how could his little trick be hidden from Lin Ling? To put it bluntly, Lin Ling was an expert they had to look up to in their lifetime. No matter what they did, it was useless. Sword, come. At this moment, Lin Ling shouted, and a huge sword flew over. He held it in his hand, then slashed toward a corner of the hall. The old man who tried to sneak attack saw the huge sword slashing toward him, and his expression changed drastically. How did you find me? That little trick of yours is nothing but a feather to me. Lin Ling said disdainfully. Stop him. Seeing this, the other true immortal realm experts roared, but what greeted them was a sword that could wipe out an army of 1,000. Against these true immortal realm experts, Lin Ling didn't even need to use martial arts. It was enough to rely on the tyrannical song sword and the god devil body. Who can you stop me if I want to kill? Everyone heard the disdainful voice, and then the huge sword slashed, and the dozen true immortal realm experts were all killed. Is this guy a late-stage true immortal realm expert? At this moment, the Fire Spear Emperor's mouth trembled. He thought that the young man was prey, but now, he felt that he was the prey. Kill him with all your might. The Fire Spear Emperor roared, and all the experts moved out, pouncing toward Lin Ling. As for the envoys from various realms, they all hid far away, looking at this scene in horror. They thought that the Fire Spear Emperor was a mountain that they couldn't surpass in their lifetime, but who knew that the young man's strength was even greater than the mountain? When did such a fierce man come to the rainforest sacred land? Ignorant, foolish. Lin Ling couldn't be bothered to say anything more. His great sword slashed out viciously. All of his martial arts, talents, and powerful weapons had been cut apart by a single slash. This was a real sword breaking all techniques. Those true immortal realm experts were all killed. The entire process didn't even last for 3 incense sticks. There were less than 5 experts from the Fire Spear Empire. What terrifying strength! Even in the martial god realm, he is definitely not a nameless existence. Emperor, the Fire Spear Emperor's voice was filled with bitterness. He finally knew the terrifying truth. This young man was not someone he could provoke. This immortal was immortal realm expert. The Fire Spear Emperor hurriedly knelt and said. The other 4 did the same, they were completely terrified. This is the insufferably arrogant Fire Spear Emperor. This scene had undoubtedly blinded the eyes of the envoys from the various realms. Let me ask you a few questions. First, who is that behind you? Lin Ling sheathed his sword and looked at the Fire Spear Emperor. The Fire Spear Emperor didn't dare to hide anything, and he even wanted to say that he was a descendant to save his life. It's a senior called Immortal Plum Sword. Immortal Plum Sword? Lin Ling murmured to himself, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Immortal Plum Sword, one of the top 10 sword immortals in Qing province, how could he not recognize her? He had killed 2 of her disciples in the past, and this bitch didn't dare to attack him. Instead, she attacked his family. She was courting death. And the ancient commanderies, Grand Court Commandery, and only me Commandery. When the Fire Spear Emperor saw that Lin Ling was thinking, he thought that Lin Ling was afraid. In fact, in his opinion, no matter how powerful Lin Ling was, he was no match for Immortal Plum Sword and Grand Court Commandery. Therefore, he was getting more and more courageous. Lin Ling's eyes flickered again. He didn't expect the two commanderies to attack him again. Last time, the two commanderies tried to assassinate him, and Lin Ling hadn't gotten his revenge yet. Second question, my daughter-in-law, Huang Yinger, who took her away? Lin Ling asked again. Huang Yinger? The Fire Spear Emperor immediately frowned, but the old man beside him had obviously seen Huang Yinger before. He quickly said, this Huang Yinger is from the Great Return world in the West world. Her background is not small, much bigger than our Fire Spear world. However, someone came to propose marriage. It was a young master from the Grand Court Commandery, so the Great Return world's master also forced Huang Yinger to marry that young master. This is beneficial to the Great Return world. Hearing this, Lin Ling's pupils constricted. A young master from Grand Court Commandery was trying to steal his daughter-in-law? I know that there's a young man in the Rainforest Holy Land who has a good relationship with Huang Yinger. Unfortunately, that young man is a toad. How can he compare to the young master from Grand Court Commandery? And if I remember correctly, their wedding is in 3 days. It's a pity that we don't have the qualifications to attend such a big wedding, otherwise we wouldn't miss such a good show. The old man continued. The young man you're talking about is my son. However, Lin Ling looked at the elder with a cold smile. The elder's pupils constricted, and he seemed to feel that he had said something wrong. Lin Ling didn't want to explain anything and continued, no wonder you deliberately targeted the Rainforest Holy Land. I knew it. There are so many realms in the north boundary, and even if you wanted to plunder treasures, you wouldn't choose the Rainforest Holy Land. Senior. What kind of treasures could there be in a rural place like the Rainforest Holy Land? If it weren't for those experts' orders, and making the Rainforest Holy Land a nightmare, we wouldn't have attacked the Rainforest Holy Land. However, those experts aren't people we can provoke, so we can only do as they say. At this moment, the Fire Spear Emperor stood up. He thought that Lin Ling was afraid. Did I ask you to stand up? However, Lin Ling said coldly. The latter was stunned and asked subconsciously, Senior, aren't you afraid of those experts? What a joke. I can tell you that not only am I not afraid, I want to kill them. Lin Ling smiled. His smile was very cold, and his words made the hearts of the Fire Spear Emperor and the others tremble. This young man dared to kill the powerful forces of Qing province. Was he crazy? Maybe you don't believe it, but unfortunately, you won't have the chance to see that scene. Then, Lin Ling raised his sword. Senior, you promised not to kill me. The Fire Spear Emperor immediately knelt down again and even almost slapped himself. It turned out that this young man wasn't afraid at all. He thought too much. Did I say that? Lin Ling sneered. These people weren't good people. Of course, if they wanted to bully the nearby realms, Lin Ling didn't care. However, of all things, they shouldn't have attacked the Rainforest Holy Land. Who are you? The Fire Spear Empire will mobilize the power of the entire empire and won't let you go. Seeing that they couldn't escape death, the Fire Spear Emperor and the others roared. I am the Great Azure Divine Dynasty's Marshal, a member of the Imperial Court, the first-generation king. Lin Ling said indifferently, and the Fire Spear Emperor's eyes widened. He hadn't heard of the other names that Lin Ling said, but he naturally knew what the title of Great Azure Divine Dynasty's Marshal meant. This was a powerful title that could summon countless soldiers of the Great Azure Divine Dynasty. Chapter 28:30. One move to destroy the world. Rumble. Unfortunately, any regret was useless because they had already gone to hell to regret. Lin Ling had taken their lives with one sword. Senior, my lord, we're not from the Fire Spear Empire. We're from another realm and were forced to come here. Senior. Senior, please spare my life. I'll kneel before you. The envoys from the other realms immediately knelt down in panic. Today, they were invited by the Fire Spear Emperor, and the Fire Spear Emperor also wanted to prove his strength in front of them as an example to others. However, before this example could even begin, the Fire Spear Emperor and all his subordinates had been killed. This matter was simply too shocking. Leave this place. Lin Ling would definitely not kill these innocent people. He took a step forward and walked toward the sky. And these people wished they could grow another pair of legs and leave the Fire Spear realm as soon as possible. The Rainforest Sacred Land's backer is actually so strong. Their minds were buzzing. Most of them had heard of the Rainforest Sacred Land, but they had always thought it was a rural place. But now, it was still a rural place? The person behind this was so terrifying that not many people in the north would dare to provoke him. Kill. Kill. At this moment, all the experts in the Fire Spear realm were on the move. They did not know that the Fire Spear Emperor was dead, but they saw that there were intruders, so the entire realm was on the move. However, there were many of them, and they were so densely packed that it made one's scalp tingle. Seeing this scene, the other realm envoys' mouths trembled, as if they were afraid that they would not be able to escape. What a bunch of pitiful people. However, Lin Ling shook his head and stretched out his left hand. His whole body emitted raging flames, and circles of flame wheels began to spread out. Finally, his left hand held a huge fireball. Snakes and rats alike, what's the use of not dying? Kill. He gently threw the flame wheel in his hand to the ground, and it was like a meteor crashing into the earth. In fact, when the fireball was thrown, the martial artists who were rushing over were already panicking. Because the rolling fireball gave them great pressure, as if they were seeing the end of the world. They all started to run. However, could they be faster than the flame wheel? When the giant fireball began to suppress the earth, the entire Fire Spear world was filled with flames that soared into the sky. The earth trembled as if the heavens and earth were falling apart. Then, resplendent fireworks bloomed on the ground and in the sky. It was beautiful and incomparably dazzling. This caused the emissaries of the various realms to suck in a breath of cold air. However, in the next moment, the earth split open, the sky collapsed, and the Fire Spear realm was completely destroyed. One move to destroy a world. Rumble. A deafening sound rang out, and after the time it took for an incense stick to burn, everything in front of him turned into nothingness. There was only the chaos of the universe and the pieces of rubble floating in the void. The Fire Spear world was no longer there. This. The emissaries of the various realms witnessed this scene with their own eyes, and they finally understood what it meant when a powerhouse was enraged. All of this was too dreamy and unreal for them, and they might not be able to forget it for the rest of their lives. They couldn't help but carefully look at Lin Ling, who was not too far away. They discovered that the youth was expressionless, as if he was used to this. This let them know that this youth was an ambitious and ruthless individual. One move wiping out a realm, for him, was as easy as flipping his hand. In the chaos of the universe, there were countless realms. When one realm was destroyed, another would be born in another place. To a powerhouse, realms were indeed just so. Grand Court Commandery, my commandery, the immortal plum sword. Moreover, this Grand Court Commandery's young noble is purposely trying to embarrass me. Lin Ling, fine, I'll play with you. At this moment, Lin Ling murmured to himself, and his body moved, disappearing from the spot. Lin Ling knew very well that the Grand Court Commandery's young noble did not like Huang Yinger. However, after hearing that Huang Yinger was his daughter-in-law, he immediately snatched her away and purposely wanted to embarrass Lin Ling. Therefore, Lin Ling would let them know what it meant to be worthy or not. With the speed of 7 realms, Lin Ling traveled through the void. After half a day, he returned to the sacred rainforest. At this moment, night had already fallen in the sacred rainforest. However, on the ground, the lanterns had just been lit, and no one was resting. They were all waiting for the return of their legend. This was because they were also worried about Lin Ling. After all, Lin Ling was facing a powerhouse from a world. I'm back. However, after arriving at the sacred rainforest, Lin Ling let out a long roar that pierced through the heavens and earth. He was telling everyone that they did not need to worry. He, Lin Ling, had returned safely. Sure enough, after that roar, everyone rushed out of the street and looked at the man floating in the sky through the night. They instantly became excited. Some of the elders and children even had tears in their eyes. Their myths had returned safely. Ling, Father. The extreme flame ancestor and the others also rushed out. In fact, they had been waiting in the main hall for Lin Ling. Grandfather, fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. I achieved my goal of going to the fire spear boundary. After landing on the ground, Lin Ling hurriedly smiled and said, Good, good, good. It's good that you're back. How is the fire spear boundary? Did they compromise? The extreme flame ancestor immediately asked. No, they didn't compromise. From now on, the fire spear boundary will no longer exist. That boundary was destroyed by me. Lin Ling explained with a smile. After hearing this, the extreme flame ancestor and the others were stunned. An entire boundary was destroyed? This was something that only existed in legends. Legends were legends, but they didn't think it was possible at all. Even Yu Yu's group was shocked. Since when did Lin Ling's power increase so much? They didn't know that after the trip to the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, Lin Ling's power had more than doubled compared to before. First Generation King, this was not a title for nothing. One person destroyed an entire boundary. Hee, I finally saw what it means to be an expert. Unfortunately, I wasn't there at the time and couldn't see His Excellency's glory. I see that His Excellency isn't injured at all. I'm afraid he could easily destroy a boundary. This brat is becoming more and more frightening. His old friends, Lord Shui Wu, Lord Pu, and even Xian Yuan Gu, Er's father, the Eastern Devil King, were all looking up at Lin Ling. In fact, they all knew that Lin Ling would become a great character in the future. However, they didn't expect for Lin Ling to not be weaker than others in the Azure Province. One person destroyed an entire boundary. Sigh, in the past, Grandpa could still guess your strength, but now, you've gone further and further. The extreme flame ancestor sighed. He was also curious about what Lin Ling experienced in the Azure Province to change so much. No matter how much I've changed, I'm still your grandson. Lin Ling said with a smile. His words made Elder Taiyan smile in relief. That was right. No matter what kind of cultivator Lin Ling had become, he was still his loyal grandson. The others also laughed. An expert who could destroy a boundary with a flip of his hand was someone they needed to look up to and respect. They might not even be able to meet one in their lifetime. But now, such an expert was talking and laughing with them without putting on any airs. This was a blessing for them. Come here. Chapter 28-31. Get ready for the wedding. Yes, father. Lin Yi nodded and walked forward. Lin Ling felt like he was in a dream as he looked at Lin Yi, who was about the same height as his son. The memories of Lin Yi's childhood were still playing in his mind. My daughter-in-law, I found her. Furthermore, Ying will be getting married tomorrow. Lin Ling then told him everything he knew. What? Lin Yi's face suddenly became gloomy. Lin Ling could see that this kid seemed to want to snatch the bride. His temperament was the same as his. He dared to take responsibility for his actions. He was a true man. However, as a father, if there was something his son couldn't do, a father would naturally have to block the wind and rain for him. The Western world. No wonder I thought Ying was well educated. She has a powerful background. Compared to the Great Return world, our rainforest Holy Land is like a backwater place. Elder Taiyan sighed. You're just a small world in the Western world. You have no right to be arrogant. However, Lin Ling said with disdain. His words made everyone's eyes narrow. Everyone, get ready. We're going to fetch the bride. However, Lin Ling's next words struck everyone as if they had been struck by lightning. They also knew that Ying had been summoned back by her family to marry the son of a large commandery. This was not something they could resist. There were not many realms in the north that could resist this. But now, Lin Ling said that he was going to fetch the bride. Dad, is what you said true? Lin Yi suddenly became a little excited. As a father, how can I watch someone steal my son's fiancée? So, even if it's Emperor Qing, if he dares to steal my daughter-in-law, I'll kill him. Lin Ling said word by word. He had always been protective of his family and friends. Father, you're so nice. Lin Yi was overjoyed and quickly hugged Lin Ling. This was his father. How domineering. Elder Taiyan and the others were also ecstatic and proud. Although he didn't know how Lin Ling would greet the bride, Lin Ling always did what he said. Yu Yu and the others happily surrounded Lin Ling. This was their husband, this was the head of the family. This girl, Ying, would sooner or later become a member of the Lin family. We'll set off tomorrow. I'll take you to the martial god world. Lin Ling said again, then went into seclusion. Everyone was in high spirits. It was as if they were celebrating the new year. The atmosphere was joyous. Every household began to prepare the chic character, preparing to host Lin Yi's wedding. The purpose of Lin Ling's seclusion this time was to activate another function of the time and space divine steel. It had to be known that the time and space divine steel had the ability to teleport. For example, in Qing province, Lin Ling could use the time and space divine steel to reach the flame world fragment and return to his evil flame sect. Therefore, he planned to use the spacetime divine steel to send Lin Yi and the others to Azure Prefecture. And in the martial god world, those without the world origin seed could not walk the path of the martial god, but the time and space divine steel could avoid the path of the martial god. In the room, Lin Ling sat cross-legged. A black ancient steel floated in front of him. His soul power enveloped it like water. The jade pendant that Grandma Wen Dao gave me gives me a 60% chance of breaking through to the true god realm. Right now, I can clearly feel the aura emitted by the jade pendant quietly changing my dantian. The Azure Emperor's jade seal fragment is starting to change color. Activating a new function of the time and space divine steel was not difficult for Lin Ling. What surprised him was that the Azure Emperor's jade seal fragment was actually changing. It was originally a simple stone, but at this moment, it had a faint golden light. Because this stone could become the Azure Emperor's jade seal. There was light in front of him, which meant that the stone was changing into the Azure Emperor's jade seal. But Lin Ling thought that he did not seem to have done anything to this fragment. Could it be because I killed a lot of people? Lin Ling thought of what had happened during this period of time. His biggest impression was naturally the destruction of the fire spear world. This made him wonder, could it be that the fragment could only become the jade seal by killing people? If that was the case, Lin Ling did not want this jade seal. He, Lin Ling, only had a 50% chance of becoming the Azure Emperor. Now that he was asked to become a murderous demon, he could not do it. Although he had killed many people in this life, most of them were people he had to kill. He would never implicate the innocent. This was also his principle. The next day, Lin Ling came out of seclusion and activated the black divine steel of time and space. It was like a giant pagoda had appeared on the ground, and there was a door in the pagoda. Lin Ling had Elder Taiyan and the others enter one after another. I, Lin Ling, am marrying a wife. No matter what, I have to make it grand. So this time, I will definitely bring my daughter-in-law back. Everyone, prepare to welcome the bride at home. When he left, Lin Ling looked at Lord Water Mist and the others and said, Sir, go on, go on. We will be at home. Lord Water Mist and the others laughed and waved goodbye. After Lin Ling and the others left, they also became busy. The entire rainforest sacred land, the human race, the demon race, and even the celestial race, began to prepare to welcome the bride. This was because this was the wedding day of the legendary child of the rainforest sacred land. It could be said that the entire world was moved. Lin Ling had done so much for the rainforest's sacred land and protected them time and time again. So, this was the only way they could repay Lin Ling. The time and space divine steel passed through the void and appeared under an ancient green mountain. When everyone walked out of the time and space divine steel, they were all shocked and very excited. TSK, I feel that the spiritual chi here is even denser. Elder Tai Yen was the most excited because he did not expect to step into the end of the martial path in this life. And this was the core of the myriad worlds, where the strongest martial artists gathered. It was the place that every martial artist dreamed of. What a mysterious feeling. Lin Yi was the same. He was excited. Then, everyone looked at Lin Ling. However, at this moment, Lin Ling was holding a piece of jade and said to the jade, Sir Huangfu, there is something that requires the 6 barracks to do. In one day, all of you must arrive at Tating Commandery. Moreover, everyone must wear festive clothes. Of course, it would be best if you could make me a beautiful sedan chair. TSK, Sir Lin Ling, you have a big operation again. Okay, I will solve it for you immediately. Laughter came from the other side. Obviously, the 6 barracks loved and respected the commander-in-chief who liked to break the rules. Brother Bai Xiaoyang, my son is getting married. I wonder if you can do me the honor of coming? This is a big event. Where is it? I will be there immediately. Vice Principal Gong, my family has a happy occasion. I wonder if you are there. Gosh, you are telling me about your family's happy occasion. You treat me like family. Of course, where is your family? Even if it is in the Crimson Province, I will rush over. Oh right, I will bring the principal with me. It will be grand. Up to you. Chapter 28-32. The one I like is Lin Yi. Lin Ling doted on Huang Yinger, but he didn't have a good impression of her family. As they watched Lin Ling speak non-stop into the voice transmission jade tablet, Elder Tai Yen and the others were stunned. Who did Lin Ling contact? Only Yu and the others kept smiling. They were very happy with Lin Ling's actions, because their son's wedding couldn't be careless. Alright, after tomorrow, prepare to welcome the bride. This is the most important thing in your life. Are you ready? After everything was settled, Lin Ling looked at Lin Yi and smiled. Father. Looking at what his father had done for him, Lin Yi was so touched that his eyes were wet. Alright, don't cry in front of so many people. Remember, I'm your father. If you can't solve the problem, I can solve it for you. However, don't rely on me too much. Otherwise, you won't be able to become an indomitable spirit. Lin Ling said. The group continued forward. Their destination was the martial gods' camp. As for the fire embryo city of the Grand Court Commandery, it was also bustling with noise and excitement. Lanterns were hung in every house with the word "she" pasted on them. Because tomorrow was the wedding day of their city lord's son. Speaking of which, the son of the governor was also a rare genius in Tating Commandery. He was one of the top 10 talents in Tating Commandery. His marriage had undoubtedly alarmed the entire city. In the city lord's mansion, a handsome young man was drinking wine with a smile on his face. Young Master Tai Chunyang, you're really something. Huang Yinger is from the Great Return Realm. There are a lot of divine gems in their realm. After becoming in-laws, our Tating Commandery will also gain a lot of benefits. An old man who looked like a housekeeper said with a smile. Humph, they have also gained a lot of benefits. Now that they can become in-laws with our Tating Commandery, they can also dominate the nearby realms. However, a middle-aged man in his 40s snorted. He was the governor of Fire Embryo City and a direct descendant of Tating Commandery. Indeed, the Great Return Realm is filled with some lowly bloodlines, so they can't wait to get closer to us. That's their fortune. The butler quickly flattered. Father, that Huang Yinger has another origin. However, the young man named Tai Chunyang drank his wine and smiled. Then, He saw his father's confusion and explained, "She is the woman of Lin Ling's son." Lin Ling. In Tating Commandery, the name Lin Ling was known by everyone. This seems to be troublesome. The governor's expression changed slightly. Back then, when Lin Ling massacred the Tating Commandery, he was also present and knew how domineering Lin Ling was. What are you afraid of? No matter how domineering Lin Ling is, do you think he dares to steal a woman? Marriage is consensual, so he can't control it. Moreover, I heard from Brother Sun Bone that Lin Ling has offended many people in Fifth Ring City. I don't think he will live for more than a year. The young man laughed disdainfully and said, "Lin Ling is just lucky. If you give me 3 years, I will also surpass him. Since Sun Bone has spoken, it should be fine." Hearing this, the governor's expression relaxed. Especially when he thought of the agreement between Lin Ling and Tating Commandery that they would not interfere with each other's business, he was even more fearless. Unfortunately, he did not know that Tating Commandery had sent people to assassinate Lin Ling. That agreement was not something Lin Ling cared about. "Father, don't be too nervous. His Majesty doesn't know about this. I want to wait until the rice is cooked before reporting to His Majesty. At that time, His Majesty will be very happy and will definitely reward us." Tai Chunyang said again, "Because, stealing the woman of Lin Ling's son is a different way of humiliating Lin Ling." Good, ha ha ha, it makes me excited just thinking about it. Chunyang, you have done a good job. The governor could not help but laugh. Then, the hall was filled with laughter. They could imagine that in the future, when they walked past Lin Ling with Huang Yinger, Lin Ling's face would be very ugly, and he would not be able to do anything about it. However, in their excitement, they did not know that even if they did not marry Huang Yinger, Lin Ling would still kill his way to Tating Commandery. Therefore, their actions had sped up the pace of their deaths. Time passed quietly. The next day, on the other side of Huiyuan City, the atmosphere was also jubilant. The sound of firecrackers could be heard from time to time. According to the rules, the bride and the bride were not allowed to meet before the wedding. On the day of the wedding, the bride had to welcome the bride at her parents' home. However, Huang Yinger's hometown was too far away, so Tating Commandery arranged for them to wait in Huiyuan City for Tai Chunyang to welcome the bride. In one of the rooms, there was a woman who looked to be about 20 years old. At this moment, her face was covered in tears, and the rouge on her face had been melted by her tears. "Miss, what's wrong with marrying into Tating Commandery? I have seen that young master. He is handsome and strong. This is the blessing of our great return world." The maid beside her said, shaking her head. "If you want to marry, you marry him. I like Lin Yi." The woman said, sniffling. The maid said disdainfully, "Lin Yi is nothing. He can't compare with young Master Tai Chunyang. He is just a boy from the countryside. I'm afraid he has never been to the martial god realm. Even if his father is the master of a realm, he is just a rich man in the countryside. Look at Tating Commandery. It is different. The martial god realm is the dream place of warriors. They can also use a powerful bounded domain to bring us here. This is their ability. Mississippi, Xiao Yan, I have been away for a few years. You have changed." Mississippi, hearing this, the woman frowned and looked at her maid. "It is not me who has changed. It is you who has changed. You have been blinded by false promises. You should know that the Rainforest Holy Land is worse than the Great Return World, let alone the Tating Commandery. It is one of the 4 great commanderies." The maid still shook her head, thinking that her miss was too silly. "Xiao Yan, stop talking." Mississippi, apparently, the woman did not want to talk anymore. She looked at the jade pendant in her hand and immediately thought of the young man she met during her training. They had gone through ups and downs together and had unforgettable memories. She liked Lin Yi and missed him very much. Unfortunately, things did not go as she wished. In this world where the strong were respected, strength was everything. Without strength, one could not even be the master of one's own future. Obviously, she was a chess piece sacrificed by her family in order to become stronger. Bang! At this moment, the door of the room was kicked open. Then a woman in a fiery red robe strode in and kicked the maid away. The maid hit the wall and fainted. The woman looked to be in her 20s. She was very beautiful. The outline between her eyebrows was similar to Huang Yinger's. However, she was not as obedient as Huang Yinger. Sister! Sister! Looking at the woman, Huang Yinger could not help but exclaim. Chapter 28-33. A huge wedding procession. The woman took Huang Yinger's hand and walked outside. Yinger, I'll take you away. For your happiness, you don't have to believe the master anymore. Sister. Sister, Sister. Huang Yinger couldn't believe it, but she followed the woman. Obviously, she didn't want to marry Tai Chunyang. However, the woman had come at the wrong time. Today was the day of the wedding. Outside the inn, a large number of people from the Huang family had already gathered. When Huang Ying, and the others walked down, a large number of people had already stopped them. The leader of the group was a middle-aged man. He said coldly, Huang Xian, you're making trouble. Father. 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 Seeing this, the red-robed woman's eyes trembled, but she still raised her head and said, Yinger already has someone she likes, and I've seen him. He's sincere and good. Why do you want to break them up? Is the family situation more important than your daughter's happiness? Sigh. Sigh. Father. Hearing this, the middle-aged man wasn't so cold anymore. Some things are beyond our control. Yinger's marriage was decided by the master. As her father, I can't change anything. Father. You're not a man. Father. The red-robed woman scolded angrily, Tai Chunyang doesn't like Yinger at all. This is a deal. You know it's a deal, but you don't dare to stand out and say anything. You're a coward. Father. You're right. Father. The middle-aged man was still not angry. He said, unfortunately, it doesn't change anything. We, the Huang family, have to think for the future of the Huang family. Men, catch Huang Xian, and punish her by sending her to the family purgatory for 3 years. Father. Father, don't. I agree to marry Tai Chunyang. Don't punish my sister. Father. Seeing this scene, the well-behaved Huang Yinger immediately cried and said, Yinger. Father. The red-robed woman also cried with heartache. The siblings hugged each other because they were both sacrifices of the family. Seeing this, the middle-aged man was also heartbroken. He sighed and said, I'm sorry. I can only say that Lin Yi doesn't have a good father and a good background. However, compared to the middle-aged man's helplessness, the other members of the Huang family were disdainful. They were already waiting for the wedding procession from Tading Commandery. However, at this moment, the sound of firecrackers came from afar. Then, the wedding procession came from afar. Dong dong dong. Clang, clang, clang. The deafening sound of gongs and drums shook the entire city. Moreover, the number of people in this wedding procession was simply beyond imagination. Looking from afar, the crowd was densely packed. There were probably more than 100,000 people. Amidst the endless sea of people, a group of people wearing red robes carried a bridal sedan and arrived. Seeing that, the members of the Huang family were all overjoyed. What a grand scene. The elder from the Huang family even said to Huang Ying, and her sister, do you see that? To be able to summon so many experts in Qing province, he must be your future husband. Take a look at how strong those people are. Not to mention so many of them, even one of them would be an overlord in the Great Return realm. They were obviously very excited, and their faces were greatly raised. So many people. Even Huang Ying's father was the same. But Tai Chunyang and the others don't seem to be able to summon so many people. Moreover, those people are even stronger than the city governor's guards. However, the surrounding martial artists of Grand Court Commandery let out exclamations of surprise. Their words made the members of the Huang family tongue-tied. They must be Tai Chunyang's men. Otherwise, how could an ordinary person summon so many people? However, the elder from the Huang family was still convinced. At the same time, the city governor also walked out. He bowed slightly to the sky and said, "May I ask if you are Tai Lisho's men?" Tai Lisho was Tai Chunyang's father. It was obvious that he was not too sure if this grand wedding procession was Tai Chunyang's men. Tai Lisho? Where did this old dog come from? I don't know him. In front of the wedding procession, an elder wearing a festive red robe said disdainfully. At this moment, the people on the ground were in an uproar. Could it be that this wedding procession was not Tai Chunyang's men? But where did they come from, and who were they here to welcome? Perhaps, they were just passing by. Who are you to block the road? Do you want to die? The elder said again. This made the city governor a little unhappy because the elder's tone did not give them any face. Sir, you don't seem to know that this is the territory of Grand Court Commandery. The city governor suppressed the anger in his heart and said. Thank you for reminding me. I know now. However, just as the city governor finished speaking, the elder flicked his finger. Then, a beam of boundary essence shot out and penetrated the city governor's forehead. Plop. When the city governor fell to the ground, the whole city was silent. The city governor was an expert of the third level of True God realm. However, the elder killed him with a single finger. Most importantly, he attacked in the territory of Grand Court Commandery. How arrogant. This elder is so strong. Could he be the person behind this wedding procession? I don't think so. The people beside him are not weaker than him. What a powerful background. Why are they here? The people discussed animatedly and their hearts continued to tremble. Huangfu old man, today is a big day. Who told you to bleed? You've offended the Lord. You're dead. At this time, a person beside the elder reprimanded. He was also an old man in his 50s. However, his spine was straight and he looked energetic. Hee, although it's a big day, the Lord has said that anyone who blocks the road will be killed. The elder who attacked previously said with a faint smile. His words were domineering, causing the whole city to tremble like cicadas in winter. Clang. 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 Just like that, the magnificent wedding procession arrived on the ground. No one in the city dared to speak. Even their breathing slowed down. They looked at the procession that was beyond their imagination and wanted to know why they were here. Under the Lord's orders, we're here to welcome the bride. The elder looked at the crowd majestically and finally spat out a sentence. Now that the city governor was dead, the person in charge was no doubt from the Huang family. Huang Yinger's father quickly walked out and said, I wonder who the Lord is marrying? Is there some kind of misunderstanding? He still thought that the others were just passing by. After all, apart from the royal family of Qingzhou, no ordinary person was qualified to have such a grand wedding procession. The bride is Huang Yinger. However, the elder's words were shocking and he said again. Yinger? Why is it her? Isn't she Tai Chunyang's fiancée? They're snatching the bride. Without any suspense, the whole city was in an uproar. No one was unmoved. Huang Yinger's father's expression changed drastically. Before he could say anything, the elder beside him said, Lord, are you mistaken? What? Are we not worthy? The elder glanced at the Huang family and said. At this time, the people of the Huang family laughed bitterly. Were they still not worthy? Hundreds of thousands of people came to welcome the bride, and all of them were indomitable powerhouses. If that was the case, it would be the Huang family's blessing. Chapter 28-34. Worthy or not? This. The old man from the Huang family didn't know what to say. It seems that the dowry is too little. The old man smiled and waved his hand. At the back of the group, more than a dozen people in festive robes carried large and small parcels. They placed them on the ground and opened them. Swoosh! The divine crystals, which were filled with dense spiritual energy, immediately dispersed. Among them, there were also pill bottles of various colors. Disaster-releasing pill? That's for breaking through to the World King realm. Is that the legendary human ring pill? It's used by experts and can quickly recover spiritual energy. These pills are priceless, and there are countless divine crystals. The crowd exclaimed. Not to mention the people from the Huang family, even the eyes of the martial artists in the city turned red because these were all precious treasures. If it weren't for the mysterious background of the other party and the large number of people, they would have already snatched them. Heavens, that's first cloud grass, ghost flame and heavenly bone water. That's nothing. There are treasures and immortal treasures over there. Another person cried out in surprise, almost drooling out of his mouth. One had to know that these treasures were nothing to the powerhouses of Five Ring City, but to people like them, they were huge treasures. Especially the people from the Huang family, they were all trembling. Because the Huang family came from 10,000 worlds, what they lacked the most were pills and weapons that could increase their strength. If the Huang family obtained these weapons, their great returning world strength would increase by 100 times. As for Huang Yinger and her sister, they were so shocked that they couldn't close their mouths, especially Huang Yinger. She didn't expect that she, who came from 10,000 worlds, would be able to make the major forces of Green State use so many treasures to marry her. Worthy or not? The old man asked again. Worthy or not? It seemed that he had to know the answer to this question. Moreover, this wedding procession was very domineering. Hundreds of thousands of people came to escort the bride, and it seemed that they were worthy or not. Moreover, the endless dowry was thrown on the heads of the great returning world, and it was also to ask if they were worthy or not. This throw made the people from the Huang family dizzy, and they all wanted to shout, yes, 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 yes. Even the people on the side of the road thought, is this still not worthy? If the other party didn't mention that he wanted Huang Yinger, they would have brought their daughters out to see if the mysterious groom took a fancy to her. Yes. Finally, the old man from the Huang family shouted. He was deeply afraid that if he was too slow, these precious treasures would be taken away by others. However, Huang Yinger's father immediately stopped him. Wait. Then, he looked at the huge wedding procession and cupped his hands. It's my daughter's honor to be loved by so many seniors. However, it's not about whether the groom is worthy of my daughter. It's about whether my daughter is worthy of the groom. In the end, he was relatively calm and cherished his daughter, because he didn't know the other party's background at all. What if there really was a misunderstanding? At that time, if the other party killed them for the sake of face, they would have nothing to say. It was fine if he died, but he was most afraid that Ying would be implicated. Hearing this, the old man smiled. He could tell that Huang Yinger's father was not blinded by wealth. Just as he was about to say something, the sound of gongs and drums came from afar. Firecrackers kept crackling. A wedding procession came from another direction. At this moment, the entire city fell silent. Because that was the real wedding procession, Tai Chunyang's wedding procession. Moreover, the two wedding processions were about to meet, which no doubt made people look forward to it. The people from Tating Commandery are here. The old man from the Huang family said in fear. Fortunately, Huang Yinger's father had stopped him before, otherwise, he would have ruined the whole thing. Although the Daihuan world was tempted by those treasures, they could not afford to offend Tating Commandery. If they married Huang Yinger to this mysterious procession, how could he explain it to Tating Commandery? What's going on? In the sky, a handsome young man arrived on a single-horned Pegasus. The beautiful Pegasus had a big red flower hanging on its neck, which meant that he was the groom today. He was supposed to be happy today, but when he saw the other wedding procession in the city, he couldn't be happy at all. He, Tai Chunyang, was getting married, and someone was one step ahead of him. Wasn't this a slap to his face? Tai Lisho, who was next to him, was also confused. He also called for the wedding procession to land on the ground. However, they came with pride, but compared to the other wedding processions, whether it was the number of people or the extravagance, they were much shabbier. This made them instantly feel humiliated. What's going on? Tai Lisho was worthy of being the governor of a city. He suppressed his anger and asked calmly. Sir, they are also here for the wedding procession. The old man from the Huang family immediately smiled bitterly, which made Tai Lisho frown. If it weren't for the fact that there were so many people, he would have slapped the old man. Wasn't this nonsense? The other party was dressed in red clothes and robes. If they weren't here for the wedding procession, were they here for the funeral? Just as he was about to speak, the old man from the Huang family's next sentence made his pupils dilate. They are here to marry Huang Yinger? Chapter 28:35. Cut off one of your arms. No wonder this group of people is so powerful. So that's why. Hearing this, the members of the Huang family also came to a realization, and they all laughed. Moreover, they looked at the mysterious wedding procession as if they were complaining. Their eyes seemed to say, "You have been hiding it from me." So it's our family. Young Master Tai is still the most respected. The old man from the Huang family immediately flattered, making Tai Chunyang smile proudly. The old man from the Huang family looked at Huang Yinger and said, "Do you see? This is your future husband. Look at how many experts he can summon. These experts are not to be underestimated in the great returning realm. Even in the West realm, they are a force to be reckoned with. It is your fortune to be able to marry young Master Tai." Hearing this, Huang Yinger tightly clenched her teeth and did not say a word. She almost had an idea. She would rather go with this group of mysterious people than marry Tai Chunyang. Unfortunately, this group of mysterious people were also Tai Chunyang's people. She was very disappointed. Today is a day of celebration for the whole country. Tai Chunyang was still riding on a big horse. At this moment, he was in high spirits. He looked at the mysterious wedding procession and said proudly, "Although you want to make a surprise, you have scared my fiancé. The leader of the group, go and apologize." Obviously, he wanted to show off his power and let the Huang family know that these experts had to listen to him obediently. "Yes, go and apologize. You have scared the Huang family members." Tai Lisho also said so. He looked very majestic. The people's eyes immediately looked at the mysterious wedding procession. Many people laughed, wanting to see the scene of the people behind the scene apologizing to the Huang family. However, in front of the wedding procession, the old man was expressionless and ignored them. Instead, he seemed to be waiting for something. Cut off one of his arms. Finally, a cold voice came from a carriage in the procession. It suddenly made the space seem to be frozen. Cut off one of his arms. It was a very calm voice, but it made the eyes of the people in the city freeze. Didn't this huge wedding procession come for Tai Chunyang? Shouldn't they listen to Tai Chunyang? Now he wanted to cut off his arm. Even Tai Chunyang's mouth was wide open. Earlier, in order to prove his authority, he had deliberately ordered these experts. However, as soon as he gave the order, they wanted to cut off his arm. Wasn't this embarrassing? Are you all confused? Tai Lisho suddenly roared, "Who is your mastermind? Who gave you the guts?" However, as soon as he finished speaking, a miserable shriek came from beside him. Blood gushed out from the single-horned Pegasus. Tai Chunyang rubbed his right arm in pain. His right arm was broken. His face was hideous and his body was trembling. Obviously, someone had made a move against him, and they were utterly unable to see through the process of that person's attack. He really did it. Seeing this, the faces of the Huang family members turned as white as paper. They had been telling Huang Yinger how awe-inspiring Tai Chunyang was, but now, not only had Tai Chunyang failed to summon that group of powerhouses, his right arm had been cut off. This was too ironic. So, this group of people has nothing to do with Tai Chunyang. Yes, it's ironic that Tai Chunyang actually wanted to summon them. He's too arrogant. I thought that this group of people was so strong, how could they be summoned by Tai Chunyang? The surrounding people were discussing spiritedly. Many of them were warriors from Qingzhou who had come from afar. They wanted to watch the festivities, but they saw the groom's arm being cut off. Such a groom was indeed embarrassing. You've rebelled. Men, kill them. Tai Lisho was obviously furious. He felt sorry for his son, but he was also angry at the loss of face. Who are you? Receiving the order, the warriors of Fire Embryo City rushed toward the bridal procession. Killing intent surged. The two bridal processions are going to fight. It seems that they're from different camps, but they're here for the same bride. Interesting, it's getting more and more interesting. I wonder who will marry the bride in the end. More and more people appeared in the distant sky and began to discuss spiritedly. They were looking forward to a big battle. However, was it a big battle? We're the ones you can't mess with. Cold. A cold voice came from the carriage of the bridal procession. Then, a large number of experts rushed out of the bridal procession. They were wearing festive robes and looked like they were here to escort the bride. However, when they attacked, they didn't look like they were here to celebrate the wedding. Instead, they looked more like an elite army. To them, the guards of Fire Embryo City were like children. Whoosh! Bang! 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 Blood rained down from the sky. Tai Lisho's army was wiped out in just 3 hours. The group of mysterious people felt that it wasn't enough. They rushed to Tai Lisho's side and killed everyone around him. They even wanted to kill the single-horned Pegasus. In the end, Tai Chunyang didn't kill them out of respect. Only the father, son, and the Pegasus were left alive. Then, they silently returned to the bridal procession and continued to play gongs and drums and set off firecrackers. The whole process seemed to be telling the crowd that the people who died were not killed by them. However, this scene made the whole city fall into a dead silence. It was too fast. 2 bridal processions, one was like a chicken and the other was like an eagle. Especially now, Tai Lisho only had 2 people left while the bridal procession was still huge. This difference was unreal. Was Tai Chunyang still a bridegroom? He looked like a beggar. You want to steal the bride from me? You're not qualified. At the same time, a disdainful voice came from the carriage. It was domineering and majestic. His voice drifted throughout the city, causing the nearby regions to feel extremely oppressive. Those martial artists who had come to watch were all in high spirits. They had directly crushed the bridal procession on the other side, and even the horses were almost not spared. This was a true bride snatching. Bride, please get on the sedan chair. The old man in front of the procession said calmly. Ironically, they could have killed Tai Chunyang but they didn't. Instead, they let the bridegroom take Huang Yinger away. Such an action was undoubtedly more painful than killing Tai Chunyang. Huang Jun, how dare you? Tai Lisho didn't dare to face the bridal procession anymore. He could only roar at the Huang family. Because as long as Huang Yinger didn't get on the sedan chair, they wouldn't lose all their face. This. The old man from the Huang family also had a headache. One was from Tating County and the other was from an unknown but terrifying bridal procession. He couldn't afford to offend either of them. Moreover, the owner of the carriage seemed to be in no hurry after hearing Tai Lisho's words. He wanted to see what other tricks Tai Lisho had up his sleeves. I've never liked to bully people. Moreover, marriage has always been consensual. So, I'll give you time. Even the voice from the carriage didn't know if it was directed at Tai Chunyang or the old man from the Huang family. Chapter 28:36. You can't beat me. They even understood the meaning behind the carriage owner's words. Want to play? I'll play with you slowly, until you're convinced, until you kneel. Huang Jun, your great return world has agreed with our Tating commandery. Today, Huang Yinger must marry me. You don't have to worry about this group of people because this is Tating commandery. They don't deserve to be arrogant here. Tai Chunyang roared angrily after suppressing his wound. He was clearly throwing caution to the wind. He didn't believe that he couldn't beat this group of mysterious people. That's right, we must marry Huang Yinger today with the strength of the entire nation. They are not worthy of fighting over the bride with us. Tai Lisho said coldly. This was because it was not only about their reputation, but also about the reputation of Tating commandery. Unworthy? A sneer suddenly came from the carriage. Senior Huangfu, how many cities does Grand Court County have? My lord, there are 81 cities in Grand Court County, and many of them are cities within cities. However, the most famous one is still the 81 cities. The old man in front of the wedding procession immediately replied. All right, let's see if they are worthy. Destroy the cities for me. First, Fire Embryo City. The sound of the carriage turned cold. Destroy the city? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They could see that the owner of the carriage was about to start playing. He was telling the Huang family whether they were worthy or not. He was also telling the people of Tating commandery, do you think you can afford to fight with me? Rumble. At the same time, something seemed to have received orders. Far off in the distance, Fire Embryo City exploded, and the ancient city was completely destroyed. The entire process only took a single sentence. This. Everyone was shocked. Tai Lisho also opened his mouth wide. His lair was destroyed just like that? Not good, a large number of people are charging towards Fire Absolute City. They are no longer charging towards Fire Absolute City. Instead, that city has been destroyed. Someone cried out in alarm. Because they were standing in the sky, they could clearly see that far away in the distance, smoke was billowing, and that was where Fire Absolute City was. Moreover, the billowing smoke seemed to have opened a door. Then, it continued to pour out from all directions of Tating commandery. The whole country was in a panic. This wedding procession is so scary. Does he want to destroy his country for a bride? His playstyle is too domineering. Following which, numerous pairs of eyes stared at the carriage in horror. They were all curious about the owner of the carriage. Just one word of disagreement, and the country would be destroyed. This was simply too domineering. Tai Lisho, what happened? His Majesty said that you are asking him for help. Is that true? However, the cities of Tating commandery fell one by one. How could Tating commandery not be moved? After knowing the origin of the matter, a large number of experts from Tating commandery rushed out. You're dead. You've gone too far. You're no match for Tating commandery. Sensing the surging aura in the distance, Tai Lisho and his son laughed wildly. That was because they had been scared out of their wits before. They had never seen such a domineering character. The more he played, the more he went overboard. He directly massacred the entire city. However, even if they were afraid, they had to grit their teeth and persevere. Now that they saw the arrival of the imperial family, they felt that they had won. Come on, let's see if you still dare to play. I don't know who you are. Now that you've been targeted by His Majesty, you'll regret it and suffer. After laughing wildly, the father and son were elated. Tai Chunyang looked at the old man from the Huang family proudly and said, Huang Jun, will your Huang Yinger marry me or marry them? The old man from the Huang family also noticed that all the experts from Tating commandery had come out. There was no doubt that Tai Chunyang was more powerful. Therefore, he flattered him and said, young Master Tai is still the best. However, just as he finished speaking, a large number of experts rushed out from nowhere and rushed towards the experts from Tating Commandery like a tide. Boom! 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 Deafening noises rang out. The true God Realm experts of Tating Commandery were all annihilated within the time it took for 3 incense sticks to burn. They were turned into ashes before they even reached the city. Seeing this, the old man from the Huang family swallowed his flattery back into his stomach. Tai Chunyang's proud face froze. The entire city was deathly silent. Only the people from the bridal escort team secretly sneered. The last time the 6 battalions came to Tating Commandery, they could have already destroyed the commandery. In the end, they stopped because of the appearance of the top experts. This time, Tating Commandery still dared to come and seek death? Dong! 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 The bridal escort team seemed to feel that the surroundings were too quiet, so they started to beat the gongs and drums again. Of course, the sound of the drums and the firecrackers were undoubtedly mocking Tai Chunyang and his son. Play! What other tricks do you have? Tai Chunyang and his son's faces were as pale as ashes. They were dispirited and lost. At this moment, they only felt that they were very small, as if they were fighting against a giant elephant. Who are you? However, at this moment, the light of flames shot up into the sky. Then, a large group of people appeared above the crowd, causing the sky to be filled with burning clouds. Among them was a young man with golden bone wings on his back, looking majestic. Brother Sun Bone. Seeing this, Tai Chunyang felt as if he had seen a life-saving straw. The pride of Tating Commandery had arrived. You want to destroy my entire country just to steal the bride? If you want to play, I'll play with you. At the same time, a middle-aged man beside Sun Bone said coldly. It was obvious that he was in a bad mood at the moment. Your Majesty. Tai Lisho was stunned for a moment, then he was ecstatic. He had never expected that his son's bridal escort would bring the emperor here. As for the Huang family, they were so scared that they knelt down and looked up at the man in the sky. Was that the legendary emperor of Tating Commandery? Moreover, even the godlike emperor was joining the game. He wanted to play too. This is interesting. How about I join in as well? That wasn't the end of it. A mysterious person in a yellow robe appeared beside the middle-aged man. He had a jade crown on his head, and he looked wise and mighty. There were layers of yellow sand on the surface of his body. Emperor? Was this another Emperor Realm Master? Is he the Emperor of only Commandery? It's him. I saw him 100 years ago. But why is he here? Only Commandery and Tating Commandery reached an agreement 3 years ago. They are allies. Therefore, only Commandery will come when Tating Commandery is in trouble. In the distance, some warriors who wandered around Qingzhou whispered to each other. This time, the game was getting out of hand. You can't beat me. However, after a moment of silence, a disdainful voice drifted out like the wind. The voice was like thunder, arrogant and unruly, as if he was the only one in the world. This person was not afraid of the 2 commanderies playing with him. Instead, he wanted to play bigger and bigger. At this moment, on the ground, the 2 venerable sovereigns were covered in dust and grime, their lungs bursting with anger. They were not like Sun Bone, who had been to 5 Ring City. Therefore, even if the person who attacked them unleashed his aura, they did not know the other party's background. In addition, the other party was wearing a mysterious mask, which made them even more confused. You're rebelling. We're an ally of the Great Azure Divine Dynasty. How dare you trample on us? I won't let you off even if I mobilize the entire nation. The Emperor of the Only Me Commandery roared furiously. Stop pretending in front of me. Unfortunately, the person on top of him sneered and stepped on his face. The mysterious masked man clearly disdained his majesty. Heavens, the army has surrounded the city. The entire army of Tating Commandery has returned. They want to save his majesty. There are so many of them. All the warriors of Only Me Commandery have also moved out. At this moment, the people in the sky saw the ominous aura billowing in the distance. Dark clouds drifted over. However, those were not dark clouds, but the entire army of the two commanderies. There were so many people. At this moment, the people in the city were terrified. They were afraid of being implicated. They knew that there were many experts present, but no matter how strong they were, would they be able to stop the countless armies? They were not sure about this. Do you see that? Get lost. The Emperor of Tating Commandery seemed to have regained his confidence. This was because this was the army that he had secretly summoned. At this moment, all eyes were on the bridal escort team. They wanted to see their anxious expressions. Unfortunately, they were disappointed. Not to mention that the bridal escort team was made up of soldiers. Even if they were not, they would not be afraid. However, they did not want to mess up the bridal escort team, so they did not move at will. Do you think you're the only one? Tang Yue, it's time for you to repay me. Move out. At this moment, a majestic voice came from the carriage again. It was as if the emperor had waved the flag and was descending to the world. Kill. At this moment, a vast army had also appeared in a place further away. They were moving in waves and had actually surrounded the army from the outside. Who are those people? They seem to be the armies of Square Commandery and Heavenly Commandery. Gosh, who is the owner of the carriage? Did he summon the two commanderies? Looking at the scene that changed the world with one sentence, the people's hearts were about to explode. Even the two emperors were the same. Their faces were pale and they were more curious than anyone else. Who was the owner of the carriage? Was he an ordinary person if he could summon the other two commanderies of the four commanderies? Without a doubt, the moment the army moved out, the army of Tating Commandery did not dare to move. This caused the entire sky to become absolutely silent. No one had expected that the bridal escort team would be so grand and grand. It was as if the entire Qingzhou had been turned upside down. How terrifying! At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Some unfamiliar experts appeared quietly. They floated in the sky and looked at the ground indifferently. These people had powerful backgrounds. Sunbone and the others' eyes lit up. Eighth Lord, help me. Are you the Azure Dragon King? Since you're here, help me this time. Tell me what you want after this. Sunbone and the rest of the 9 heavens of Qingzhou said immediately when they saw the experts who were attracted by the grand procession. You're the 9 heavens of Qingzhou. We have to give you face. Lord Eighth and the rest said flatly. Sunbone and the rest's eyes lit up. However, Lord Eighth added, but now, I can't help you. Although that guy is not as powerful as you, there are more people who value him. I can only say that you can't compare to him in terms of courage. After saying that, the experts turned and left. Obviously, they knew who the owner of the carriage was. However, they did not dare to act rashly in front of that person. This was because they knew that the experts on the other side of the carriage were 100 times more than them. Some unexpected people were even invited, which shocked them. What? How could this be? Sunbone and the rest were terrified when they saw Lord Eighth and the rest leave. There were people in Qingzhou that they did not dare to offend. Who was the owner of the carriage? Failed again? All the experts of Tating Commandery, the emperors, the army, and even the experts from Qingzhou failed to stop them. Chapter 2838. I'm Lin Yi, the trash you've been talking about. Who dares to play now? At the same time, a voice came out of the carriage. It was calm and composed. Who else could it be but me? However, the world was silent. Everyone saw that no matter what method they used, no matter how strong they were, they could not win against the owner of the carriage. This was definitely a robbery. Your Excellency, who are you? Our Tating Commandery has no grudge against you. If you really want to marry that girl, you can just say so. I, Tating Shiju, will give you face. You don't have to make things so awkward between us. At this moment, the Grand Court Commandery's Majesty finally spoke because he'd realized that the owner of the carriage wasn't someone he could afford to offend. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate. Moreover, if he had known that this person was so terrifying, he would have treated him with respect. In fact, everyone was curious about who the owner of the carriage was because it was too terrifying. You'll know who I am later. I'm here for 2 reasons. First, I'm here to marry my daughter-in-law. Finally, laughter came out of the carriage. Then, a young man in a groom's robe walked out. This young man was wearing a mask, but it was obvious that he was very excited. Behind him was an old man and a middle-aged woman. They also walked out, but they were all wearing masks. This is today's groom. The old man in front of the bridal procession introduced him with a smile. At this moment, countless people looked at the young man. Their faces were filled with fear. Daughter-in-law? This meant that the groom was the son of the owner of the carriage. This groom had a good father. For the sake of this marriage, he would kill anyone who stood in his way. A father like this was probably everyone's dream. Go ahead. No one will dare to stop you. Bring your wife here. The old man behind the groom spoke in a gratified tone. He glanced at the carriage, and his heart surged. Because the grand scene before was obvious to all, and he was even extremely worried. However, he didn't expect that his little grandson would be so amazing, to actually cause a huge wave in the Qing province. This was the pride of the Lin family. Yes. The young man nodded excitedly and walked towards Huang Yinger. How terrifying. Yinger, is this your groom? For you, he's thrown the entire world into chaos. Beside Huang Yinger, her sister said in horror. In fact, she was also shocked by the groom's actions. If someone came to marry her like this, she would have agreed to marry him. But Huang Yinger stood alone in the same place. Although she was touched, she already had someone she liked. Therefore, she did not walk forward. Let's go quickly. We were blind before. Tai Chunyang is just a piece of trash. How can he be compared to him? The old man from the Huang family hurriedly walked over and said. He was even afraid that the groom would be angry, so he spoke while smiling at the groom. Because he also saw that the bridegroom's father was an ambitious and ruthless person who could destroy a country without saying a word. Even the emperor of Tating Commandery had to be submissive to him. He could not afford to offend such a person even if there were 100 of him. Me. Huang Yinger still did not move forward. She was very stubborn. You're too insensible. That old man immediately said in a resentful tone. Uncle Huang Jun, that's enough. At this time, Huang Yinger finally could not hold it in anymore. In the rainforest sacred land, I was with Lin Yi. You also said that he was a piece of trash. He did not have a good father or a good background. He was not worthy of me. On the contrary, Tai Chunyang was the best candidate in your heart. Now that Tai Chunyang is not comparable to him, you said that he is a piece of trash. I, Huang Yinger, do not have anything, I have someone I like. You. The old man was obviously furious. He was afraid that Huang Yinger's words would anger the owner of the carriage and kill them all. He suddenly gritted his teeth and wanted to slap Huang Yinger's face. However, someone stopped him. It was Huang Yinger's father. At this moment, he obviously stood up. Huang Jun, that's enough. She is my daughter. Huang Yinger's father's eyes were red. He gritted his teeth and said, we only care about the family. What about the Huang family? You only think about yourselves. You only want to find a better in-law. Have you ever thought about my daughter? Father. Hearing this, Huang Yinger and her sister immediately cried. For the first time, they felt that their father was so great. Father, I'm going all out. Today, these big shots caused such a big commotion because of you. They are not people we can provoke. However, Father will always be on your side. Huang Yinger's father said word by word. He looked at the approaching groom and bowed slightly. I'm sorry, my Yinger already has a fiancé. We caused such a big commotion, and you're telling us that Yinger has a fiancé? Do you want us to leave just like that? The groom said hoarsely. I know it's difficult to make up for anything, but I'd rather use my life to make up for it. Although my life is lowly, I hope it can satisfy you. I beg you, let my daughter go. As a father, I shouldn't think about the family. I should think about my daughter's happiness. Huang Yinger's father said again. Aren't you afraid that the Great Return realm will be destroyed? The groom said again. This time, Huang Yinger's father found it difficult to answer. Huang Yinger said, My sweetheart is Lin Yi. You can kill me, but I love him. I want to be his woman when I'm alive, and his ghost when I'm dead. Anyone could see that she was going to repay him with her life. You're all muddle-headed. Seeing how stubborn the father and daughter were, the Huang family's elder was completely enraged. He swung his palm at Huang Yinger again. However, this time, he was stopped again. It was the groom. The groom looked at him indifferently and then slapped the old man's face. Slap. The crisp sound of the slap stunned the Huang family's elder. Huang Yinger was also stunned. So was her father. In their opinion, they had rejected the groom. Shouldn't the groom vent his anger on them? However, the groom did not explain anything. Instead, he looked at the old man through the mask and said, Your Excellency, who is Lin Yi? Lin Yi is a boy from the countryside. He's a toad who wants to eat swan meat. He's poor and weak. His father is also a useless person. He wants to marry Huang Yinger, but he's not worthy of my Yinger. Your Excellency, don't think too much about it. Although Lin Yi and Yinger are a couple, nothing happened between them. Huang Jun said hurriedly. He thought that the groom slapped him because of Lin Yi. Then what about me? The groom asked again. Your Excellency, you're really a capable person. Huang Jun said honestly. He then looked at everyone in the Huang family and asked, What do you think? Your Excellency is a dragon among men. There was no doubt that this question was unnecessary because the truth was right in front of them. In fact, everyone in the city thought so. Is that so? Hearing that, the groom laughed sarcastically. He put his palm on the mask and then slowly removed it, revealing a handsome and slightly childish face. I'm sorry, I'm the trash Lin Yi that you're talking about. When the voice and face appeared, Huang Yinger and the others were stunned. They were as shocked as a celestial being. Chapter 28:39. You want to know who I am? In the past, he was the one who took Huang Yinger away. At that time, he said to Lin Yi, a toad wants to eat swan meat. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not having a good background and a good father. Fuck. But now, Lin Yi's father had appeared. Huang Jun had seen how terrifying his father was with his own eyes. His father was a great figure who possessed great power not only in the North Territory, but even in the Green Province. The country boy in his mind overlapped with the son of a formidable person. All of this was a fatal blow. Plop. Huang Jun knelt down. His face was extremely pale. You said I don't have a good father. Tell me, what about my father? Lin Yi looked at Huang Jun condescendingly. Fuck. Huang Jun could not answer. Lin Yi smiled. His smile was cold, but it was also filled with pride. It was as if he had released all the pent-up anger in his heart. Because those who looked down on him, those who looked down on the people of the rainforest Holy Land, and those who looked down on his father, had all knelt down and admitted defeat. Let me tell you, you can insult me for not being strong or talented, but you can't insult my father or the rainforest Holy Land. Fuck. Bang. Lin Yi stomped Huang Jun down and landed his foot on the old man's shoulder, forcefully stomping him into the ground. I was wrong, I was wrong. Fuck. Huang Jun lay on the ground. His heart felt as if it had been cut by a knife. His forehead was covered with cold sweat. Get lost. I won't kill you for Yinger's sake. Yinger will marry me from now on. If the Great Return World dares to stop us, I'll destroy your world. Lin Yi kicked the old man away. The old man did not dare to say anything. He hid behind Lin Yi with his tail between his legs. He finally knew that his life and the life of the Great Return World depended on Yinger's words. Yinger's husband had the ability to dominate everything. At this moment, there was only deep regret in his heart because he knew that no matter how high his seniority was in the clan, he had offended Lin Yi. From today onward, he would no longer be a person of virtue and prestige. For an old man, losing the respect of the younger generation in the family was worse than killing him. This was indeed the case. At least because of Lin Yi, Huang Yinger's father's status was now higher than his. One wrong step had obviously affected Huang Jun's entire life. Lin Yi. At this moment, Huang Yinger's eyes were hazy with tears, and the rouge on her face had melted away. Her persistence had finally paid off. Thank you for coming to me. Huang Yinger couldn't hold it in anymore and pounced on Lin Yi. Lin Yi was also very moved. He hadn't announced his identity before, but Ying-er still chose him. Heaven and earth could bear witness to this. You should thank father. Lin Ling hugged Huang Yinger and whispered in her ear, reminding Huang Yinger of the kind and gentle Lin Ling whom she had only met once. She had never imagined that her uncle, who treated her like a family member, would treat outsiders so horribly. Moreover, he was so powerful in the martial god realm. Thank you, uncle. Huang Yinger hurriedly looked at the carriage in the distance and said, but Lin Yi suddenly smiled, uncle? She had changed to calling him father. Yes, I should call him father. Huang Yinger's face immediately turned red. She quickly shouted shyly, thank you, Dad. Then, she was led by Lin Yi to the sedan chair. At this moment, she was very happy. Because, from now on, she also had a protective and domineering father. Great, great. Seeing that her sister had found her happiness, Huang Xian-er seemed to be happier than Huang Yinger. Moreover, she was very curious about Lin Yi's father, who she had never met before, but looked down on the world. Was he an old man in his 50s? That should be the case. Because he could summon so many experts, he must not be young. Dong, dong, dong. Clang, clang, clang. Clang. At the same time, the joyous sound of gongs, drums, and firecrackers was heard. It was like a silent slap on the faces of Tai Chunyang and his son. They had never expected that the bride would be taken away by someone else even though Tating Commandery had sent such a big team. I'm so angry. Especially Tai Chunyang, he knew that from now on, he could not stay in Tating Commandery anymore. People would only laugh at him. A talented man and a beautiful woman, a match made in heaven. However, what made him even more miserable was that the Emperor of Tating Commandery was also celebrating the arrival of the bride. Without a doubt, the Emperor of Tating Commandery was trying to curry favor with the owner of the carriage. This made Tai Chunyang stunned. Was the Emperor also saying that he was not worthy? This made many people secretly mock the Emperor of Tating Commandery. The Emperor of Tating Commandery was so disgraceful that he did not even dare to say anything when the bride was taken away. Instead, he congratulated the other party. How spineless. However, people stared at the carriage, wondering who this big shot was. Now that the bride was in the sedan chair, it was time for the owner to show up. Among all the people, only Tai Chunyang and his son knew Lin Yi. However, they were still embarrassed and had forgotten who Lin Yi's father was. I never expected that Tai Shiju of Tating Commandery would take the initiative to curry favor with me. Today, I almost destroyed the commandery for my daughter-in-law. Suddenly, a sarcastic laugh came from the carriage. This shows that your excellency is a true man. This also shows that true love is invincible. Tating Commandery stands on the side of reason and not on the side of family. Everyone can see that the girl likes your excellency's son. Chapter 2840. Never in their wildest dreams. At this moment, Tating Commandery was in complete silence. People looked at the indifferent young man. Their hearts were pounding and their bodies were trembling. It's Lin Ling. Yes. How could it be him? Yes. Everyone in Tating Commandery was aware of Lin Ling's name. After all, not long ago, Lin Ling came with an army and massacred Tating Commandery. He even took away the pride of Tating Commandery and the ancient city walls. Only because of the arrival of a big shot did Lin Ling restrain himself. However, in just a few years, Lin Ling came again. It was like a nightmare because this time, it was even more terrifying than the last time. Not to mention Tating Commandery, even Tai Shijue and the two emperors could not stop Lin Ling. Most importantly, the time between the last time and this time was less than 10 years. No one expected him to have such power in just 10 years. Yes, they could not even dream of it. It's him. Right, he's Lin Yi's father. How could I forget? Yes. Tai Chunyang also stared at Lin Ling. Although it was the first time he saw Lin Ling, he reacted quickly and slapped himself hard 3 times. He thought Lin Ling had fallen, so he wanted to humiliate Lin Ling's son. However, he did not expect that he would provoke someone he could not afford to provoke. After Lin Ling became furious, he came to Tating Commandery and was unstoppable. Tai Chunyang was full of regret. He could not afford to provoke Lin Ling. He thought that if he had 3 years, he would definitely surpass Lin Ling. But now, it seemed like a fool's dream. Even Sun Gu, who he worshipped, did not have such confidence. At this moment, he was also at a loss and kept shaking his head. I should have known it was him. But why did one of the 4 holy dwellings in 4 Ring City give him face? Yes. He could not figure it out. As for the lords of Tai Ting Commandery and Onlywa Commandery, their bodies trembled as they recalled everything. It was like a dream. A long, long time ago, a bloodline warrior of the Grand Court Commandery had died in a lower world. At that time, the Commandery had constantly sent out experts to hunt down the murderer. However, the murderer was lucky and had repeatedly escaped from disaster. Instead, he rose step by step and became the most wanted criminal in the Commandery. That was also the first time they had heard of Lin Ling's name. However, the rise of the other party was like the bamboo shoots after the rain. With an unstoppable momentum, he brought his army to the Commandery to wash it in blood. However, compared to the Marquis of 5 Ring City, the latter was still too inexperienced. They also thought that with the sovereign Marquis around, they would be safe and sound from now on. They didn't have to fear Lin Ling anymore. However, things didn't go as they wished. Did these guys still have the qualifications to talk about an agreement? Although Lin Ling wasn't a good person, he always kept his word. But now, the 2 commanderies were the ones who violated the agreement. They were the ones who tried to assassinate him first. Kill. There was no nonsense and no explanation because there was no need to. It was also because Lin Ling had the strength to kill them. Sovereign Marquis, what are you guys looking at? I beg you to come and help. Are you going to let Lin Ling spread his wings and soar? Seeing that Lin Ling was determined to kill him, Tai Shijue immediately shouted. He couldn't stop the experts around Lin Ling. So, he could only ask for help from the powerful forces in 5 Ring City. However, the sovereign Marquis and the rest remained silent. This wasn't something they could help with. If they joined in, Lin Ling would even take the opportunity to kill them. Is the heavens going to destroy my commandery? At this moment, the two sovereigns' hearts were dead. Their Tating commandery and only commandery had a history of thousands of years in Qingzhou. They had gone through countless ups and downs, but in the end, they had survived. But today, was this glory, inheritance, and pride going to disappear in the long river of history? Lin Ling, wait. However, at this moment, an old man in golden armor appeared. He came alone, but the moment he appeared, the eyes of Deputy Dean Gong and the rest lit up. Obviously, they knew this person. Who are you? Are you going to save them? Lin Ling looked directly at the old man without fear. The old man's face immediately turned ugly. Lin Ling was only at the true God realm, but he was a martial celestial realm expert and a big shot in the Imperial Censor Dragon Court. However, Lin Ling still didn't give him face. But the situation was beyond his control, so he endured it. Chapter 2841. Hostages. Rumble. Along with his voice, golden light blossomed in the sky. An enormous golden dragon with no end in sight descended, circling back and forth. It was extraordinarily majestic, and its golden scales were actually as large as a small house. That surging pressure nearly caused all the martial artists on the ground to kneel down. They knew that the old man's strength was terrifying. The old man had shown his strength and identity because he wanted Lin Ling to show him respect and fear him. Elder Zhu, save me. Tai Shiju looked at the golden dragon as if he was grasping at a life-saving straw. The latter came from Five Ring City and was one of the four magnates. He should be saved. Shiju, I watched you grow up. Are you stupid? Lin Ling is not someone you can offend. However, the mighty golden dragon in the sky scolded Tai Shiju. When the people heard this, their hearts trembled. Even the mysterious golden dragon was afraid of Lin Ling? I was wrong. I regret it so much. I shouldn't have offended Lin Ling. Tai Shiju also knew that the situation was out of his control. He also knew that this senior could not defeat Lin Ling even if he came. This made him very shocked. He even wondered what Lin Ling had done in Five Ring City. You know you were wrong. The golden dragon roared again. The Grand Court Commandery should change its ruler. Shiju, you should prepare to face the wall for 5,000 years. You can't come out until the time is up. Shiju is willing. Tai Shiju said as he knelt down. However, his eyes were filled with unwillingness. Are you done with your bullshit? However, Lin Ling's cold cry drifted out just as the two of them finished speaking. This caused the golden dragon's eyes to narrow. Tai Shiju was the same. What did Lin Ling mean by this? Senior, I don't know you and don't know who you are. However, don't think that I'll give you face just because you're here. Did I say I'll let him go? Lin Ling shouted again. Boom. The people were shocked. Even experts like the Sovereign Marquis were the same. That was because the Great Golden Era Dragon had a powerful background. Even in Five Ring City, many ancient legends had to give him face. Therefore, they thought that Lin Ling was going to compromise and give face to the other party. Moreover, Tai Shiju had also received a corresponding punishment. He was sentenced to face the wall for 5,000 years. However, Lin Ling had no intention of giving him any face at all. It seemed like he still wanted to kill Tai Shiju. This kind of arrogance was simply terrifying. Kid, I know that you've made some achievements and that you've been valued by many legends of the Qing state. However, do you know who I am? The Great Golden Era Dragon was clearly furious. Because this was the first time he had met someone who didn't give him face. Who do you think you are? Let me tell you, I, Lin Ling, am a person who will treat others the same way they treat me. I will do what I promised, but if others break their promises, I will retaliate. Every time they try to assassinate me, I will kill them. Not to mention you, old man, even if you magnates are here, I will not give you any face. Lin Ling said word by word. His words were firm and unwavering. Moreover, Vice Principal Gong and some people from the Imperial Court sent me a message asking me to let go of the Grand Court County. After all, there are too many innocent people. I agreed to their request, but there is a condition. The county must be disintegrated and His Majesty must die. Then, everyone will be able to escape. Humph. Lin Ling said again as if he was the ruler of the Qing state. You. Humph. The Great Golden Era Dragon was completely furious. He had given Su Mo a lot of face, but who knew that not only did Su Mo not give him face, but he even treated him like an ant. You don't need to you and me. I also want to remind you that today's matter has nothing to do with you. Don't get involved in this mess. It will not only bring you no benefit, but also harm you. Lin Ling said again. This time, it was a threat. A junior of the true immortal realm was threatening the oldest existence in the Qing state. Lin Ling, how domineering. At this moment, there was no one who wasn't moved. From the first ring city to the second ring city, all the way to the fifth ring city, everyone who was secretly watching felt their hearts explode. Good, good, good. I want to see how you will not give me face. Roar. The Great Golden Era Dragon also roared. He was a person of virtue and prestige in the Imperial Court, and Lin Ling was highly valued by the Imperial Court. He did not believe that his reputation and status were lower than Lin Ling's. After saying that, he looked at the people of the Grand Court County and shouted angrily, "Your ancestor and I were close friends. Although he has passed away, you are half of my descendants. Today, as long as I am here, you will not die." Obviously, he was going to fight against Lin Ling. He did not believe that a junior could make waves in front of him. To put it bluntly, when he was cultivating, Lin Ling was still reincarnated. When he had seen the rise and fall of the two Qing emperors in the Great Azure Divine Dynasty, Lin Ling did not know what the Stable District Divine Dynasty was. Men, kill Tai Shijue. Hearing this, Lin Ling's eyes turned red. He was going to risk it all. He was assassinated, and his daughter-in-law was snatched away by the Grand Court County. This Great Golden Era Dragon did not come out to uphold justice. He came to collect the debt, but the other party was in the right and insisted on going against him. Then, he would fight with him. "Senior Zhu, please excuse me." Hearing Lin Ling's words, Bai Xiaoyang looked indifferently at the Great Golden Era Dragon. Although the latter's status and strength were higher than his backer was Grandma Wendao. Lin Ling's words were equivalent to Grandma Wendao's words. How could he not obey? Seeing him walk out, the Black Warrior Divine Manners Mansion Master did the same. Gradually, the 8th Jew Lord, Red Jade Tiger, Sunset Glory, and other ancient experts also walked out. This huge momentum directly suppressed the sky to the extreme. World essence went berserk, and the Azure province was filled with billowing smoke. No one expected Lin Ling to have grown to this extent. Was he still the genius of the Resplendent Academy? He was simply an ambitious and ruthless sovereign of the Qing prefecture. I don't want to die, I definitely can't die. Looking at the terrifying situation, Tai Shijue was so scared that he lost his mind. This was because he did not trust Elder Zhu. The main reason was that the Imperial Dragon Court only sent out one person. Obviously, the Imperial Dragon Court did not want to bother with him. Run! Only the sovereign realm's sovereign of the Azure province roared. None of them wanted to die here. However, it was obviously impossible to escape from the hands of so many experts. Therefore, their gazes fell on the people from the Huang family. Swoosh! No one thought that they would flee in the face of danger, even abandoning their respective counties. When they caught the people from the Huang family, everyone finally reacted. Get out of the way, or I'll kill them. Lin Ling, they are your in-laws, you don't want them to die, right? The two emperors were ruthless people, and they would do anything to survive. It was as if the matter that he couldn't let go of the most in his heart had been resolved. His eyes gradually closed, and Huang Yinger hurriedly looked at Lin Ling. "Save my father." At this moment, Lin Ling's expression was extremely ugly. He angrily stared at the golden Grand Era dragon in the sky. It was because of him that this tragic scene had occurred. Then, he shot towards Huang Yinger and took out a large number of treasures. He wanted to save the middle-aged man, but in the end, he shook his head helplessly because the middle-aged man's life force had already dissipated. Uncle Lin Ling. Seeing this, Huang Yinger looked at Lin Ling in pain and kept kowtowing. Her sister did the same. In their opinion, Lin Ling was their god. Lin Ling was omnipotent. Father. Ling Lin Yi and ancestor Tai Yan also ran over, but Lin Ling lowered his head and gritted his teeth in silence. He felt very uncomfortable. Although he had only met the middle-aged man once, the middle-aged man was Huang Yinger's father, and Huang Yinger was half his daughter-in-law, and his family. Therefore, he felt a little guilty that he couldn't save his family. Kunlun. However, at this moment, Lin Ling's arm made a bell-like sound. Then, the inconspicuous vine wrapped around the middle-aged man like a small snake. Rays of golden light sprinkled down, and the middle-aged man's lifeless face gradually regained its color. Little Kunlun. Seeing this, Lin Ling was shocked. When did this little guy wake up? Moreover, those golden lights? Wasn't that the light he saw at the Copper Sparrow Terrace? Did this little guy have the ability to save people? Lin Ling was suddenly dumbfounded. However, Huang Yinger and the others thought that it was Lin Ling's doing. They kowtowed to Lin Ling and cried tears of joy. They also saw that their father was quietly recovering, and in the end, he even coughed. Huang Xian was so excited that she kissed Lin Ling on the cheek. Lin Ling shook his head helplessly because he didn't know that little Kunlun had such an ability. Take him to the back to rest. Seeing that the middle-aged man had survived the crisis, Lin Ling waved his hand lightly, but his eyes were cold as he looked at the sky. "Very well, you have completely angered me." His words were obviously directed at the golden Great Era dragon. "Lin Ling, I'm sorry, I didn't know this would happen." For some reason, seeing the cold eyes, the golden Great Era dragon was a little frightened. He didn't know why he was panicking. But he knew that Lin Ling was going to do something crazy. "Yinger, do you hate those people from the Huang family?" Lin Ling looked at Huang Yinger, but Huang Yinger shook her head. She was simple and obedient, so she didn't understand the meaning of Lin Ling's words, but her sister was a smart person. She quickly said, "I hate them, they have been bullying our family." This time, it was Huang Jun's idea to let Yinger marry into the Grand Court Commandery. "That's good." Lin Ling nodded, and his emotionless eyes looked into the distance. "Senior Bai Xiaoyang, I'll have to trouble you to kill them all." I've been waiting for you to say that." Bai Xiaoyang understood and disappeared on the spot. The Black Warrior Divine Mansion Master looked at Xian Linglong, and seeing her nod, he also disappeared on the spot. As for Luo Riyao and the others, they naturally understood Lin Ling's meaning. Tai Shiju and the others kidnapped the Huang family, but these people were obviously not Huang Yinger's relatives, so what did their life and death have to do with them? "Lin Ling, you." The great golden era dragon in the sky also noticed Lin Ling's actions and knew that the hostages held by the Grand Ten Extremes were useless. "You shut up, because of you, my people almost died. Let me tell you, my people's lives are more precious than a commandery." Unfortunately, Lin Ling directly reprimanded him, making everyone's jaws drop. Now, who was the senior? However, what surprised everyone was that this time, the golden Great Era dragon didn't refute, as if he knew that he was in the wrong. Bang bang bang. Chapter 2843. Annihilation. His Majesty has passed away. Looking at the head, the entire Tating commandery cried out in grief. Everyone knelt down. They did not expect that after so many twists and turns, His Majesty would not be able to escape death. His Majesty of Tating commandery had been passed down for 10,000 years. People had guessed that His Majesty would rule for 100,000 years. Unfortunately, 10,000 years was his limit. Lin Ling, you killed His Majesty. Then, everyone in Tating commandery roared at Lin Ling. Their eyes were as red as blood. You're the devil. Oh my God, how did Tating commandery offend a devil like you? You're heartless. Angry curses rang out one after another, causing the world to be filled with endless resentment. Ha, curse, curse, curse as much as you want. You are a group of foolishly loyal people. Your Majesty caused this trouble himself, but you have to shoulder it. He even abandoned you before and left. Are you still feeling sorry for him? Seeing this, Lin Ling laughed out loud. His blue robe fluttered in the air as he mocked the people in the world. You'll die a horrible death. People were even more furious. Ha, pitiful, sad. I've said it before. My people are more precious than your whole country. My people almost died before, but I won't make the same mistake again. Lin Ling laughed even more wildly. He looked at the people as if he was looking down on the world. His gaze fell on all his family members. He was a devil. If people said he was a devil, then he was a devil. He only needed to protect those around him. Why should he care about the opinions of passersby? Annihilate the commandery. When Lin Ling's last words were heard, all the curses disappeared. Everyone was shocked and stunned. Over at Five Ring City, the big shots were also stunned. The four great commanderies were ancient divine kingdoms that existed in the same era as the Great Green Divine Dynasty. They worshipped the Great Green Divine Dynasty, revered the Great Green Divine Dynasty, and became its allies. But now, these ancient divine kingdoms were about to be destroyed. The person who annihilated it was not an authority in Qingzhou, nor was it Emperor Qing. It was a junior. A young man who had turned into a demon for his family. Kill. The 6 armies had been waiting for this sentence for a long time. The rolling army finally moved out. On the periphery, the powerhouses of Square Commandery and the other 2 commanderies also moved out. They joined forces to kill all the commanderies. Today, the country would be destroyed. Ha, laugh, laugh all you want. And in the sky, Lin Ling was like a demon. His long hair danced wildly in the wind, and he spread open his arms, laughing at the common people. How dare you! The Great Golden Era Dragon was in complete chaos. Tating commandery was half his descendant. Was Lin Ling going to slaughter his descendants? Kill. However, Lin Ling took a step forward and stood in front of the Grand Golden Dragon. His tiny figure fearlessly stood against the ancient dragon. You still don't know your mistake. Because Vice Principal Gong pleaded for mercy, I spared the 2 commanderies. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. I only wanted the commandery's Majesty's order. But you protected them because of your principles, and in the end, innocent people were almost implicated. Now, the people of the 2 commanderies died because of you. Wake up. If you hadn't done those things, today's grievances would have been over. Lin Ling's voice was like thunder, and it made the Great Golden Era Dragon stop in his tracks. His eyes were filled with pain. Am I the one who harmed the descendants of my best friend? The Great Golden Era Dragon turned into an old man. He held his head with both hands and seemed to be in extreme pain. If he hadn't shown up, Lin Ling would have only killed 2 majesties. But his appearance had given the 2 majesties the opportunity to implicate others, and Lin Ling was completely enraged. And Lin Ling, in his fury, had slaughtered the commanderies. Do you think I'll give you face just because you're an ancient myth? Open your eyes and take a look. After your arrival, who has more people in this world? Lin Ling roared at him. Hearing this, the old man looked around. All around him were Lin Ling's people, the Bright Academy, and even the imperial court. Not a single person from Imperial Censor Longting came. Obviously, Imperial Censor Longting thought that his status was not as high as Lin Ling's. Lin Ling's status in the Imperial Court was higher than his. I've already given you enough face. Otherwise, the moment you appeared, I would have killed you. Lin Ling shouted angrily again. In fact, you're very pitiful, but you're pleading for them? Do they appreciate it? They'll only kill more people. Do they appreciate it when I was lenient and intended to spare the people of Tating Commandery? They're calling me a demon. In that case, I'll fulfill their wishes. I, Lin Ling, am a demon. Lin Ling's voice was louder and louder. The great golden world dragon could only look at the dead people helplessly. Lin Ling, spare our lives. We were wrong. The people of Tating Commandery were all shouting. They regretted it and their hearts were bleeding. Lin Ling had given them face, but they didn't accept it. They were still unwilling to accept the death of their emperor. They seemed to have forgotten who was in charge of Tating Commandery at the moment. They called Lin Ling a demon, and Lin Ling became a demon because of them. Kill all of them. This was the style of killing demons. Swoosh. In the ancient Holy Kingdom, blood flowed like a river. The warriors who were watching from afar were frightened and trembling. They looked at the young man in the sky and finally knew how ruthless he was. This was an emperor who would not hesitate to destroy thousands of worlds for a peaceful place in his heart. The only people he cared about were the people around him. As for the people who participated in the massacre, they were soldiers. They were led by Lin Ling and only listened to Lin Ling's orders. Therefore, they were ruthless and they killed without mercy. Most importantly, they knew that Lin Ling was a man of principle. It was Tating Commandery who went back on their word first. If Lin Ling wasn't lucky, he wouldn't have been the one to die today. Lin Ling would have been the sacred place of the rainforest. Sometimes, the reason in the world was so simple. You came to kill me. If I didn't die, I would kill your whole family. Rumble. The earth continued to shake and blood stained the earth red. Countless wronged souls disappeared in the universal law and entered the cycle of reincarnation and the underworld. In the ancient country, wreckage and corpses were everywhere. Gradually, the screams and cries of pain became fewer and fewer. In the sky, the setting sun was as red as blood. There was only one figure floating there. His blue robe had turned into a blood-red robe. His long hair danced wildly, and he was unruly. His gaze was firm, unruly, and proud. Even if he was haunted by countless wronged souls, even if he had killed too many people, he was still fearless and fearless in the face of the heavens. This was Lin Ling. Father. Looking at the proud man in the sky, Ancestor Tai Yen and the others had tears in their eyes because they knew who Lin Ling was destroying the country for. Moreover, Lin Ling had made the mistake of letting the tiger return to the mountain in the past. Therefore, Lin Ling wouldn't make the same mistake again. However, Lin Ling had shouldered everything, including the debt of blood. However, this man of indomitable spirit was never afraid. Chapter 2844. Congratulations from all the experts. At this moment, whether it was the warriors who were watching from afar or the ancient legends of the great Qing divine dynasty, they were all looking at the Tating Commandery. However, the ancient buildings that had stood for thousands of years had disappeared and turned into ruins. It's over, it's all over. There were only two people from Tating and Tating Commandery who were still alive. They were Sun Bone and Luo Sha Thorn from Qingzhou. They had escaped. Moreover, they were not as popular as Lin Ling. However, it would be difficult for Lin Ling to kill them because they were experts from the great Qing divine dynasty and had powerful giants supporting them. Therefore, Lin Ling's men could not kill them. But at this moment, their eyes were bloodshot. They had to avenge the destruction of their country. Lin Ling, I don't believe that these experts will always be by your side. I, Sunbone, will kill you. Sunbone secretly swore a blood oath, and then disappeared without a trace. In the merciless world of martial arts, powerful strength was the main theme. Today, Lin Ling destroyed his country because he was powerful. In time, when he became the son of the true dragon, he would definitely pay with blood. This was also the principle of the world. As for the Marquis of Sovereign Justice and the others, they left with complicated feelings. Dead, they are all dead, Lin Ling. After the pain, the great golden era dragon stared at Lin Ling with hatred. His powerful aura burst out, and his golden dragon claws appeared and clawed at Lin Ling. It could be seen that he had already lost his mind and wanted to kill Lin Ling even if he had to die. Come and kill me. However, Lin Ling was not afraid at all. He looked straight at him. At the critical moment, the great golden era dragon finally stopped. He did not dare to kill him. Now, Lin Ling was not just a simple genius. The relationship behind him was complicated, and it was related to the emperor's fate. Therefore, if he was killed, it would affect the whole situation. This was also the reason why the giants were worried. Ah! The old man roared and spat out a mouthful of blood. He could only leave into the distance. Lin Ling asked that senior to kill him, but he didn't dare to kill him. Lin Ling, who else could it be but me? The hearts of the people in the distance trembled. Today's Lin Ling made them see him in a new light. He even gave them the feeling that Lin Ling was a giant that couldn't be provoked. However, they also knew that the Great Azure Divine Dynasty was as deep as the ocean. Lin Ling had snatched the Azure Thearch's jade seal, and he definitely had other secrets. This made the magnates of the Great Azure Divine Dynasty hesitate to attack Lin Ling. Before they could confirm everything, they did not dare to attack Lin Ling. Go back. Then, Lin Ling's cold voice floated out. Dong dong dong. Dong dong dong. Almost at the same time, the sound of gongs, drums, and firecrackers rang out. The huge wedding procession took the bridal sedan and headed off into the distance. The people were shocked. Lin Ling was still in the mood to welcome the bride. This wedding could be said to be the most extravagant in the history of the Great Azure Divine Dynasty. While marrying his daughter-in-law, he's going to destroy the country? This Lin Ling. Exclamations of surprise rang out. The people had never seen such a heroic person. They could only say that Lin Ling was not someone they could provoke. Woo woo. Lonely souls cried, lonely for eternity. The once glorious Grand Court Commandery had become a land of death due to the deaths of too many people. Those who were weak would even feel chills all over their body, as if they were being watched by something. They would be scared to leave this place. TSK, what a great grievance. The heavens and earth were silent for a long time. Suddenly, the sound of a crow crying could be heard. Then, a black shadow wandered around the land of death like the wind, adding to the horrifying scene. No, soul refining? Sir, please spare us. The horrifying thing was that the black shadow was wreaking havoc on the souls. It should be known that the souls should enter the cycle of reincarnation and be reincarnated. However, the black shadow had bound a large number of souls and prevented them from being reincarnated. Instead, it was devouring their souls, causing endless grievance. If Lin Ling destroyed the country, it would be too heartless. However, this person was obviously even more heartless because he was disrupting the laws of the universe and making the dead unable to rest in peace. My Son of Heaven's mandate requires the souls of the wronged. The sound of a crow crying could be heard again. It was cold and bloodthirsty. Then, a black shadow appeared, holding a broken jade piece in his hand. At this moment, the jade piece was emitting a black light as if it was transforming into a black jade seal. The Azure Emperor's jade seal. This was obviously another Son of Heaven's mandate. Killing one is a sin, killing 10,000 is a hero. In the past, the Azure Emperor destroyed 3,600 worlds in the east boundary and 1,200 worlds in the west boundary for the Azure Emperor's Jade Seal. How can I, a rising star, be weaker than him? The process of being crowned as an emperor has never been smooth. How can he be called the son of heaven if he is soft-hearted? After devouring the surrounding souls, the black shadow disappeared and headed for the myriad worlds. He was like a reaper from the underworld. Compared to the gloominess of this place, Second Ring City was extremely lively because Lin Ling's son was getting married. Many famous people in Qing Prefecture had come. Even though it was a joyous occasion, all the giants had to give face. This showed how important Lin Ling was in Qing Prefecture. In fact, many giants knew that this was only a junior at the true immortal realm. It was very likely that he had the Son of Heaven's mandate in his hands. Of course, this was only their guess. However, those with the Son of Heaven's mandate were not to be underestimated. They also had the chance to become the Azure Emperor. Resplendent Academy. Grand Council Hall. Acquaintances came to visit one after another, causing Ancestor Extreme Flame and the others to be overwhelmed by the favor. Especially when he saw some seniors with white beards and walking with crutches. Ancestor Extreme Flame knew that in terms of age, he was probably one generation older than these seniors. Therefore, he respectfully addressed him as senior. Because he knew that these fellows' lifespans were probably limitless. Who knew that it would have been better if he hadn't called them that? Once he did, those fellows who looked as old as Mount Nanshan all panicked. You're Lin Ling's grandfather, right? Heavens, don't call me senior. I should be the one calling you senior. That's right, that's right. If Lin Ling knows that you're bowing to us, he'll definitely kill us. Elder, please spare our lives. The seniors who looked even older than Ancestor Extreme Flame all waved their hands and pleaded. This time, Ancestor Extreme Flame was stunned. He really wanted to say that they were indeed older than him. However, when he saw that they were on the verge of tears, he held himself back. Brother Extreme Flame, in Qing Prefecture, strength is everything. Although they're older than you, your grandson is too frightening. He can destroy a country at the slightest disagreement. That's why they wouldn't dare call themselves seniors in front of you. Vice Dean Gong walked over and explained with a smile. I see. Ancestor Extreme Flame also understood. The so-called senior was actually based on strength, not age. However, when he saw a bunch of people older than him call him big brother or senior, his heart was filled with bitterness. You destroyed a country in anger. There are not many people in Qingzhou who are as carefree as you. The man said indifferently. However, Lin Ling knew that the third prince was just in disguise. The third prince was actually a fairy-like person. I, Lin Ling, am like this. I treat people the same way they treat me. If there is any cause and effect, I, Lin Ling, will bear it alone. Lin Ling said with a smile. He sensed that the third prince was complaining, as if he felt that Lin Ling had made too much of a fuss. Hearing this, the man smiled and did not say anything. It was obvious that he was just complaining, but he did not care. However, she did not expect Lin Ling to be more carefree than she had imagined. He was a man who dared to take responsibility for his actions. If an ordinary person did such a big thing, they would be eager to flatter the imperial court. However, Lin Ling chose to bear it alone. He even secretly told the third prince that this matter had nothing to do with the imperial court. The third prince could not help but look at the people around Lin Ling with a hint of envy in his eyes. This was a man who dared to go against the world for his loved ones and family. Then, everyone started to exchange pleasantries. Night fell. Lin Ling walked with Yu Yu and the others, feeling the tranquility of the night. Lin Ling looked at the distant sky, his eyes flashing constantly. No one knew what he was thinking. Yu Yu and the others did not disturb Lin Ling. They quietly accompanied him. In their eyes, Lin Ling was like the sky above the clouds, looking at the common people. When they thought of the destruction of Tating Commandery, they sighed. It was not that they sympathized with Tating Commandery, because they were not stupid. They knew that Tating Commandery was a ticking time bomb that would explode sooner or later. They were sighing because of Lin Ling's achievements. When they came to Qing province in the past, they were as insignificant as ants. They never thought that there would be a day when they could move their feet in Qing province and shake the ancient legends. Now, they had clearly gained a firm foothold in Qing province. Wow, Little Li, you're still as impulsive as ever. At this moment, 3 people walked over from the distant sky. Grandma Wendao had finally arrived, followed by Sakura and the cloaked man, Su. Ha, second brother, you're famous in Qing province now. Everyone calls you Overlord Lin Ling. Sakura was the first to laugh and present a congratulatory gift. Because of Grandma Wendao's identity, it was not appropriate for them to show their faces. Because in Qing province, there were people who even Grandma Wendao was afraid of. At this moment, they were secretly watching Grandma Wendao. That's right. Whoever provokes us, we'll kill them all. However, compared to Lin Ling's arrogance, Sakura was obviously more ruthless. If he was present at that time, not to mention the people of the 2 commanderies, even those who were related to the 2 commanderies, he would have killed them all. He would not leave behind any future troubles. Because if he left behind any future troubles, the ones who would suffer would be the people around him. Grandma, big brother, you're here. Lin Ling was instantly delighted and personally welcomed the arrival of the 3 people. Grandma. Yu and the others also knew Grandma Wendao and could not help but shout in surprise. Ha, the little girl of the past is becoming more and more feminine today. Grandma Wendao smiled kindly and said, you've also accompanied Little Li for a long time. When will you let me accompany you for a day of romance? Grandma. Hearing this, Yu and the others naturally knew that Grandma Wendao was joking. However, they also held Grandma Wendao's hands like children and acted coquettishly. Haha. Grandma Wendao smiled. With Yu and the others around, she would not be so presumptuous. Everyone then sat down and poured fragrant tea. They chatted and laughed with each other. Oh right, Grandma, my emperor's fate has changed a little. Grandma. As if he had thought of something, Lin Ling quickly took out the emperor's fate. In the end, he was shocked when he saw it. Because, 1/3 of the broken Imperial Jade Seal fragments had actually turned into an Imperial Jade Seal. You brat. Grandma. Even Grandma Wendao was shocked. According to the legend of the 20 Emperor's fate, whoever whose Imperial Jade Seal fragment turned into the Azure Emperor's Imperial Jade Seal would dominate Qing province and possess ancient power. Chapter 2846. Bad news. I don't know why it has become like this. Lin Ling smiled bitterly. Then, he suddenly understood. Not long ago, he slaughtered the people of the 2 commanderies. Could it be because of this? It seems that your Imperial Jade Seal fragment depends on killing. Grandma. Grandma Wendao also guessed the reason. Because in this period of time, the only thing Lin Ling did was to destroy a country. You're really lucky. Grandma. Grandma Wendao could not help but sigh and shake her head, do you know? The previous Emperor Qing also obtained the Imperial Jade Seal fragment by killing. Later, he slaughtered countless people and finally became the Emperor Qing. Grandma. Master, is my second brother the most likely to become the Emperor Qing? Grandma. Hearing this, Sakura could not help but feel happy for Lin Ling. He was a person who did not look out for himself. What he cared about was Lin Ling and the others. Other ants had nothing to do with him. However, Lin Ling frowned. Unless he was infuriated, he had many people who liked to kill. Take the 2 commanderies for example. If they had not completely infuriated Lin Ling, how could Lin Ling have destroyed them? From what I know of the Imperial Jade Seal fragments, Little Li's Imperial Jade Seal Fragment is indeed the easiest. Although the destiny of this Imperial Jade Seal Fragment is to kill, the universe is fair. If the person who holds this Imperial Jade Seal Fragment kills the world, the universe will punish them based on their good and evil. Good people will be rewarded with good in the next life, evil people will be punished with evil in the next life. Moreover, the holder will not receive the punishment of the universe. Grandma Wen explained with a smile. Hearing this, Lin Ling's eyes kept flickering. Does this mean that if they were killed by him, it would be a kind of relief for those who did good things, and they would have more good luck in the next life? And if they did many bad things and died in Lin Ling's hands, then they would be unlucky. In the next life, they would be so miserable that they would want to die. They would be reincarnated as dogs, pigs, and so on. But even so, Lin Ling still curled his lips. Is this making him a world purifier? To be honest, he was not very interested. Could it be that the 24 Imperial Jade Seal Fragments require different powers? After thinking for a while, Lin Ling suddenly asked curiously. That's right. Each of the 24 Imperial Seals has a different destiny. Only the one who fulfills the destiny will have fulfilled the rules set by the deity and become the Azure Emperor. Grandma Wendao nodded. The Son of Heaven's mandate that I know of, some are very difficult. For example, there is one that requires you to collect vengeful spirits. You have to know that not every dead person is a vengeful spirit. Another one is to do good deeds, and the number of good deeds that need to be done is not small. There's also the monarch's descent light, which means that he has to make millions of people admire him. These Imperial Jade Seal Fragments are very difficult to obtain. Hearing this, Lin Ling's mouth twitched. It sounded very difficult. After all, doing good deeds or gaining the admiration of the world was not as simple as killing people. I don't want to be a murderous demon. Big brother, I'll give you this Jade Seal Fragment. Lin Ling said again. You're asking for a beating. Seeing this, Grandma Wendao's eyes twitched. She almost wanted to give Lin Ling a good beating. There were only 24 Son of Heaven's mandate. Others would want to snatch one, but this guy actually gave it away so casually. That won't do. Second brother, you can have the Son of Heaven's mandate. That's also predestined. It's a rule set by the deity. I don't dare to violate this rule. Sakura hurriedly waved his hand and smiled. To be honest, I'm very tempted by the Azure Emperor's position. However, I can snatch it from others. Anyway, I definitely don't want your Son of Heaven's mandate. Sakura's ambition was bigger than Lin Ling's. He was born with the Emperor's bone. Lin Ling, on the other hand, was free and easy. He liked to be free and unrestrained. The two brothers' pursuits were different. What deities rule? The Son of Heaven's mandate is in my hands. I can give it to whoever I want. It's none of the deity's business. Lin Ling curled his lips and said. However, when he saw Grandma Wendao's fierce glare, he finally kept the Imperial Jade Seal Fragment. Alright, let's not talk about the Son of Heaven's mandate. Shaoli, you've destroyed 2 large commanderies. Now, the Great Azure Divine Dynasty's attention is on you. You have to be more careful because the Great Azure Divine Dynasty is much bigger than you think. Grandma Wendao warned. Lin Ling nodded. After that, the crowd stopped talking about other things. Instead, they talked about some trivial matters. The night passed just like that. The next day, the rainforest market was still bustling. However, just as the sun shone on the entrance of the market, an anxious figure rushed into the market. Lin Ling, are you here? The person who came was Red Jade Tiger. Seeing his anxious face, the crowd had an ominous premonition. They quickly informed Lin Ling. Lin Ling, you have to calm down. Something has happened. After Lin Ling, Yu, and the rest walked out, Red Jade Tiger looked at Lin Ling seriously. Lin Ling frowned. He also noticed that Red Jade Tiger's face was very serious and even ugly. Sir, tell me. Lin Ling also had an ominous premonition. In the North Territory, 365 territories were massacred last night. One of them was the Great Return Territory, the Rainforest Sacred Land. Red Jade Tiger looked at the crowd and said word by word. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, the faces of Ancestor Tai Yan and the rest changed drastically. Dang dang dang. Lin Ling took a few steps back and even turned pale. This was because the ones who stayed in the Rainforest Sacred Land were Lord Shui Wu and the rest. They were Lin Ling's friends. Why did this happen? Could it be Sun Bone and the rest? Lin Ling's eyes turned red. He was like a ferocious tiger that was about to devour its prey. Calm down. This matter should have nothing to do with them. They aren't that stupid to fight you at this time. It won't do them any good. Chi Yuhu said. The news came from the war god camp. Many realms were destroyed. The Rainforest Sacred Land was only one of them. Moreover, the myriad realms around the Qing province, Western world, and Southern world also had many realms destroyed. Countless people died. As for the reason, no one knows. The great Qing divine dynasty guessed that the mantis demons were born in the myriad territories. They killed for a living, so they massacred the territories. Red Jade Tiger continued to speak. However, Lin Ling's eyes flashed. He suddenly remembered Grandma Wen Dao's words. The 20 emperors' fates were all different. Could this be the reason? However, no matter what the reason was. At this moment, Lin Ling's heart was in pain. He closed his eyes and a line of tears flowed out. Lord Shui Wu. In the Rainforest Sacred Land, there were many people who wanted to kill him, but she had repeatedly protected him. The 7 sovereigns. In the great calamity of the world, when the demon race and the god race had invaded, Lin Ling had nearly been killed several times. It was also the 7 sovereigns who had appeared to save him. 7 Profound Martial House, Heaven Mystics Kingdom, Ancient Face Sect. Profound Peng, Profound Essence, Profound Yellow, the 3 profound realms of the human world. Here, Lin Ling had too many friends, too many memories. But now, they had all been turned to ashes. Chapter 2847. Guilt. Let's go back. Thinking of this, Lin Ling roared angrily and strode out of the market. Ancestor Extreme Flame and the others did the same. Their eyes were wet. Their home had been destroyed. The Rainforest Sacred Land, an unknown domain in the North Territory. However, at this moment, it was like a corner abandoned by heaven and earth. The lonely wind blew as if it was telling of the glory of the past. The huge mythical statue collapsed, and the statue was carved with the pride of the Rainforest Sacred Land, Lin Ling. When a group of people appeared in the sky, they saw the ground dyed red with blood. They did not even see a corpse. It seemed that the people of the Rainforest Sacred Land were not only dead, but even their corpses were not spared. If Lin Ling's destruction of a kingdom was an earth-shattering event, then the destruction of a world was even more heartless and horrifying. At this moment, the laws of the universe seemed to be flowing. The common people, their life, age, and death were just one of the ruthless laws. No. Looking at the lonely city and the silent world, Ancestor Extreme Flame was the first to let out a roar. Then, he completely fainted. Who is it? Lin Yi, Mo Nianchen, and the others also roared, each of them heartbroken. At this moment, the only people who were still alive in the Rainforest Sacred Land were the Lin family's relatives. And they saw that in the ruined city, there were extinguished lanterns swaying, and the lanterns were pasted with the word, She. In the Rainforest Sacred Land, they wanted to celebrate Lin Yi's wedding, but this wish was not fulfilled. Lin Ling gritted his teeth and let the merciless wind blow past his cheeks. At this moment, he realized that the world was so oppressive, and the wind was so cold. Bang! He rushed into the lonely city like a madman, wanting to find his acquaintances. Unfortunately, the city was empty, and his old friends were not there. He disappeared on the spot and appeared in the Heaven Mystic's kingdom. However, the place seemed to have been defeated for 1,000 years, and there was only the lonely wind. He appeared in the Ancient Face sect, the first sect that had left him with endless memories. At this moment, the Ancient Face sect had been turned into ruins. Who is it? Lin Ling roared to the sky and spat out a mouthful of blood. Finally, in the Ancient Face sect, he saw a line of bloody words on a broken stone tablet. Destroy the kingdom, very impressive. Then I will destroy the world. Puff. Seeing that line of words, Lin Ling spat out another mouthful of blood. Could it be that they're here for revenge? Everyone had also arrived at the Guyan sect. Staring at the line of words, their fists were tightly clenched. Could they be the remnants of Tating Commandery and Weiwa Commandery? That shouldn't be the case. I don't see any hatred in these words. Instead, they seem to be filled with disdain. It seems to have been done on purpose. Or perhaps someone received a request and decided to destroy this realm in passing. Because if they were truly seeking revenge, the North Realm wouldn't have so many realms destroyed. Lord Eighth frowned and said. The other party was so ruthless. Although Lin Ling had destroyed a nation, he had gone to seek revenge. This was a very common thing in the martial god realm. However, the other party had even killed insignificant people and destroyed 100 realms. He was utterly devoid of conscience. However, it was undeniable that the other party knew about Lin Ling. Lin Ling stood there like a stone statue. In his mind, the people he knew, the people he didn't know, and the people he had met in his life were circulating. Those people were also looking at Lin Ling with a smile. It was as if they were looking at their loved ones, their legend. It was as if they were telling Lin Ling, my lord, this has nothing to do with you. This is the law of the universe. The Son of Heaven's will is circulating. Plop. Lin Ling knelt down. His head faced the sky and the earth, and he kowtowed heavily. It's me. I've implicated you. The law of the universe, the rules of the gods. If there is any punishment from the heavens, it will be borne by me, Lin Ling. Why did I implicate them? I've let you down. Bang. 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 Under Lin Ling's kowtow, the entire sacred rainforest swayed. The entire world was shaking. The falling flowers flowing water soared, Tang Yue, and all of Lin Ling's friends in Qingzhou had tears in their eyes. Ever since they got to know Lin Ling, they knew that Lin Ling was a tough nut to crack. Even when facing the giants of Qingzhou, he had never bowed his head. However, they saw it now. This indomitable man who carried everything on his shoulders had knelt down. Bang! 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 Following that deafening sound, everyone's hearts began to ache. When Lin Ling raised his head, they even saw a line of tears flowing down from Lin Ling's determined face. My lord! At this moment, everyone began to cry. This was the first time they had seen this arrogant man cry. Brother Ling. Looking at the grief-stricken Lin Ling, Yu Yu and the others felt their hearts ache. This was because this was the first time they saw Lin Ling so sad. It was so sad that they felt as though the world had collapsed. It was extremely gloomy. Back in the sacred rainforest, when the Qin clan's patriarch and the second prince of the Heaven Mystic's kingdom died, Lin Ling was also very sad. However, he had never been as sad as he was today. Perhaps, the number of his friends who had died was too many. Even ancestor Tai Yen woke up. He looked at the guilt-ridden Lin Ling, and his heart felt as though it was being stabbed by a knife. However, no matter how they shouted, Lin Ling just kept kowtowing. It was as though he was apologizing to his dead friends. Even though the souls of his dead friends were here, they wouldn't blame Lin Ling. They could even be proud of knowing Lin Ling. However, Lin Ling still felt that he had let them down. Bang! He knelt like this and kowtowed countless times. It was as though he was kowtowing to every dead person. Finally, Lin Ling fainted. My lord. Seeing this, everyone felt even more heartache. Sigh. Lord 8th, Chi Yuhu, and the others sighed softly. Everyone said that Lin Ling was heartless, cold, and domineering. But who was there that saw this scene? Who would feel so sad and guilty for those friends and passers-by? Therefore, those who said that Lin Ling was heartless and cold, they didn't deserve it. Lin Ling, do you still remember me? It's enough to know you in this life. If I still remember you in the next life, I'll come and find you. In the chaos of the universe, when an emperor descends, countless lives will be buried with him. This is also one of the laws, and also a rule set by the gods. Lord Lin Ling, you don't have to blame yourself too much. In the haze, Lin Ling seemed to hear many familiar voices. There were people from the Gu Yen sect, people from the Heaven Mystics Kingdom, and also people from the Rainforest Sacred Land and the three mysteries of the human realm. All the people that Lin Ling met when he was young, they all appeared in Lin Ling's dreams. Finally, they waved goodbye. However, they left with smiles on their faces. However, just as Lin Ling wanted to ask them to stay, Lin Ling's eyes finally opened. He found himself lying on the bed. Beside him were his wives, Yu, Xian Yuan Gu, Qin Xiaolan, Princess Hualing, and others. Chapter 28-48. The Awakened Lin Ling. At this moment, the door was pushed open, and a seductive figure walked in. After seeing Lin Ling, the woman was overjoyed. However, she was afraid of disturbing Yu and the others, so she quickly whispered, "You slept like a log. During this period of time, you worried them to death. Let them have a good rest." This woman was Lu Susu. She pointed at Yu and the others and said, "How long have I been asleep?" 1 year. Yu and the others have been with you for a year, and they haven't rested for a year. These idiots, and you probably haven't rested for a long time. Go and rest. Hearing Lu Susu's words, Lin Ling's heart ached. He carefully got up from the bed and pulled Lu Susu to rest regardless of how she waved her hand. Lin Ling, are you feeling better? Lu Susu seemed to be unable to let go of something. This was because a year ago, Lin Ling had kowtowed for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, he fainted, and then fell into a deep sleep for a year. She was worried to death. It's all right. In the past year, I have also thought it through. Although I must avenge my family, there are still people who want to use this as an excuse to disturb me. However, he has indeed succeeded. However, how can I, Lin Ling, be so weak? I will stand up where I fall. Lin Ling said lightly. Seeing that Lin Ling seemed to have recovered, Lu Susu couldn't help but smile. Really? She knew that Lin Ling valued friendship and righteousness, so she was afraid that Lin Ling was comforting her. Really? You have to tell the truth. It's true. Then I'll believe you this once. After a few conversations, Lu Susu had quietly closed her eyes. It was obvious that she was also exhausted. Lin Ling's heart was filled with warmth. To have such close friends in this life, he was perfectly satisfied. Fortunately, this was Lin Yi's wedding. Because of the wedding rules, relatives must be present to welcome the bride, so Lin Ling brought them along. Otherwise, he would have regretted it for the rest of his life. Lin Ling opened the door, and the scorching sun shrouded his body. Then he realized that he was still in the Rainforest Sacred Land. However, there were no memories of the past, and this made Lin Ling's face couldn't help but become gloomy. Previously, he said that he didn't care, but with his character of friendship and righteousness, how could he not care? He looked at the green mountains in the distance and the colorful flowers. He then looked at the grass and dead trees nearby. Finally, his gaze landed on the dead tree. The dead tree was already dead, but there was a bud growing out of it. The old thing is gone, new life. Lin Ling came before the withered tree and stroked the tender shoots with a smile on his face. At this moment, he seemed to understand something. His soul, his soul, his soul, his soul. It was in the range of 6,000 steps. He stepped out, and when he appeared again, he was already in a great hall. In the great hall, everyone was present. Old Ancestor Extreme Flame, Lin Yi, and the others. In a year, Lin Yi had completely matured, as if he was the master of a world. In the year that Lin Ling had been asleep, Lin Yi had shouldered the Lin family and the remaining people of the rainforest sacred land on his shoulders. This was because his father had been fighting for so many years and was tired, so he wanted his father to have a good rest. Are you sure that those people's eyes are blood red? Lin Yi's voice suddenly sounded. Among the crowd, a middle-aged man stood quietly. His right arm was broken, and his face was extremely cold. He indifferently said, I don't want to repeat my words a second time. Who the hell are you? The people in the Great Hall were suspicious of the middle-aged man. This was because everyone in the rainforest sacred land had died, and this man was the only one alive. Moreover, this person had the strength of a world king. It had to be known that in the rainforest sacred land, the strength of a world king was very rare. Even if there was, it was impossible for them not to know. I said, the rainforest sacred land is my hometown. The middle-aged man looked up and said, where is Lin Ling? I want to see him. Who knows what intentions you have? You better tell the truth. Seeing this, Lin Yi angrily shouted. His father was still in a deep sleep, and he didn't know what was going on. How could he let a stranger see his father? If this person was sent by other powerhouses, the rainforest sacred land would definitely not be able to stop him. That's enough. I've already explained many times. You don't plan to believe me. The middle-aged man erupted with a powerful strength. However, there were several people in the Great Hall who were stronger than him. This was because Lord Eighth and the others were worried about Lin Ling, so they had been staying in the rainforest sacred land. Just as they were about to attack, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the middle-aged man. He's one of us. After seeing that person, everyone was overjoyed. Because it was Lin Ling. You've finally woken up. For the past year, we've been worried to death. Moreover, if your enemies know that you've fallen, I'm afraid they won't miss this opportunity. It's good that you've woken up. Lord Eighth and Red Jade Tiger laughed excitedly. Ling, Father. Ancestor Tai Yen and the others also had tears in their eyes. Lin Ling smiled and greeted everyone. However, his gaze quickly turned to the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked at Lin Ling excitedly and then knelt down on one knee. Death Arrow Martial God, I didn't expect you to still be alive. Lin Ling quickly helped him up. This person was Li Xiaoyao's old enemy from the Great Saint Domain, Death Arrow Martial God. This powerhouse had been crippled by Lin Ling in the past. Later, he bitterly cultivated and recovered some of his strength. When Lin Ling returned last time, the first person he met was Death Arrow Martial God. Therefore, he gave him some pointers. He didn't expect this person's talent to be so great that he could actually comprehend a realm origin seed. Lin Ling, I've finally seen you. You have to avenge us. Death Arrow Martial God said excitedly. Tears flowed from his eyes. His wife and son were both dead. If it weren't for the fact that this person didn't know he was a world king, he wouldn't have been able to escape this calamity. Who is it? Lin Ling was even more excited than Death Arrow Martial God. I don't know who they are. However, their eyes were blood red. Moreover, they were under orders because on that day, everyone in the Rainforest Holy Land heard a mysterious voice. That voice wanted to destroy the realm origin seed. Death Arrow Martial God said. Blood red eyes. Lin Ling frowned. Such people were too hard to find. That's right, they also had a moon mark on their foreheads. Death Arrow Martial God suddenly recalled. According to what you said, there is a clan in the north that has this characteristic. It is the Dragon Slayer clan. They are in the Flash world. Moreover, What is surprising is that the realms near their world have been destroyed, but their world is still safe and sound. Red Jade Tiger suddenly said. The Rainforest Holy Land had been destroyed by a mysterious person. The 6 armies of the Great Azure Divine Dynasty had gone to investigate, thus they knew of this news. Flash World. Lin Ling muttered, his voice turning icy cold.